Buonasera a tutti. Buonasera. Welcome to our Italian Sunday dinner to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Everyone, this is beautiful that we are all gathering. I'm here with Jim Rosapep, the Vice Chair of the Italian American Democrats, who have done an amazing job pulling together this beautiful event nationwide, a big Italian Sunday dinner. And let me tell you, we just did a little pilgrimage. We're here in Little Italy in Baltimore. We literally did a little pilgrimage. We went to the home of Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi, where she grew up and where she learned all the amazing things that made her the leader she is today. So Jim, let's salute Nancy Pelosi.
Salute.
Salute. And everyone, this is going to be a beautiful evening. So many amazing Italian Americans are joined together to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz this evening. Listen, the idea of a dinner, we decided this expresses who we are. We all know what it's like to have that beautiful Sunday dinner when the family comes together. We want to be a family as Americans, Italian Americans, bring everyone together for these amazing candidates and get everyone involved. We want everyone to participate, to donate, to volunteer, to get involved in this campaign. But let me just make a personal point here. I remember the Sunday dinners growing up. My mother, Maria, who I want to note right here and now, made the best eggplant parmesan of anyone on the planet. And I miss it. I miss her. I miss it. I remember her family, her sisters, my grandfather Giovanni, talking about the world around us. And they were Democrats. They believed. They came up with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They believed and they cared and they passed on those values to me. And they told me that Sunday dinner should be a time when everyone comes together and everyone's welcome at the table. And that's the spirit this evening that we bring to this gathering. We want to get everyone involved and everyone invite people into the Zoom this evening. And then from there on, we're going to work hard to elect our new president. Now, I have a great joy to bring in my co-host, Paul Mercurio. He is an amazing comedian. He was one of the driving forces behind Comics for Kamala. He has won it all. He's won the Peabody Award. He's won an Emmy. He performs and writes with the Stephen Colbert Show now. Amazing Italian-American talent. Let's welcome Paul Mercurio.
Salute. Cheers. Salute. Great to be with everybody. This is such a great event. Being an Italian-American, great to be part of this. This is going to be a terrific night to raise money and to sort of bond as a community. A couple of things real quick. We are going to have QR codes on your screen, one for donating, one for volunteering. We want you to do both. Please use them. And during the course of this, if your friends or neighbors aren't joining us, have them join. We want to really get this thing rolling. Also, there'll be a thermometer, which will sort of tell us where we are in raising money. So you can keep an eye on that. It's an amazing collection of Italian-American celebrities, political leaders. I share what the mayor just said that, and by the way, mayor of my city, a tremendous, for my only time I finally got to meet you. I know you're not mayor anymore, but I do have a few things I want to go over with you. First of all, the garbage trucks right in the intersection, they could pull over to the side a little bit if you could work on that for me. But Bill, as you mentioned, the Sunday dinner, my grandparents came from Italy, and what I love about this sort of this kind of thing is it's celebrating diversity, it's celebrating ethnicity, it's celebrating the immigrants that came here in a way through us. And I have, some wonderful, unique characters in my family that some may relate to who are Italian, like my cousin Bobby, who still dresses like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. And I am not making any of this up. So my father passed away a number of years ago, and we had the open casket Italian Catholic funeral. And this is how my cousin Bobby came dressed to the funeral: a fluorescent orange silk shirt unbuttoned with gold chains, white patent leather belt, white slacks, a creamsicle with chest hair, okay? White mesh loafers, no socks because it was the summer. So he put powder on the feet to keep them dry. But he put so much powder that every time he'd step toward the casket, puffs of white smoke. I swear to God. And I'm like, hey, somebody nominated a pope. This is tremendous. So this is going to be a night to celebrate Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, the Democratic effort to get the White House and to keep the White House and Italian Americans. And with that, I want to kick off with our first guest, and it is a true honor to be able to introduce this gentleman, Robert De Niro. You may have heard of him. He's an up-and-coming actor. He's, come on, one of the greatest actors ever. He's got 2 Oscars, a Golden Globe, a Cecil B. DeMille Award, the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award, Kennedy Center Honors, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and he was a Weeblo Boy Scout, Cub Scout, everybody. So it's a great honor to welcome Robert De Niro. Robert, thank you for doing this.
Hi, how are you? Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for inviting me. This is also important for all of us to support Kamala Harris and Vice President Walz. We don't, I don't know what to say, except I hope we raise a lot of money. I don't know, anything that you want to ask me or what?
Yeah, I have something I want to ask you.
Okay, that's enough.
Hey, you're tough now, but get in a room with me. You know what I'm saying?
All right, okay.
I know you're going to a fundraiser after this. If you can grab me a little eggplant rollatini,
I'll try.
Do you feel like we're turning the corner here away from Trump? I mean, it's going to be a close race, but a lot of people feel a seed change happening with Kamala coming into the ticket. You've been on the Late Show to talk about this, and I've been there. We were told not to make eye contact with you, so I didn't. And,
you were the guy. Okay.
I can't believe I'm talking to De Niro. Anyway, so how do you feel? I mean, you've been very invested in this for a long time.
I'm very optimistic about it all. I'm very excited, but to me, it ain't over till it's over. So we can't for 1 second think that we're ahead of this thing. It's we just have to be on it all the time until the very end, because they're going to try everything. When the election day comes, when will the things be final? What will they question? What will they play games about? We know it's coming. We see it coming. We have to just be ever vigilant, and it's not over till it's over. And even then, there might be. I think people will realize once it is over, hopefully, God willing, that it's Kamala and Walz, that the ones who make the big thing and what happened January 6th, I think people will think twice about doing something about that, no matter what Trump says, because people pay a price. And is it worth it for them, especially following someone like him? It's just insane.
Yeah, look, there are a lot of disaffected people out there that Trump has tapped into, and one of the things that I think Kamala and Tim Walz will be able to do will sort of be able to bridge that divide, hopefully.
Yes,
sort of, because I do think those people can't. Whatever you think of them for supporting Trump, right? It's their right. There's something that he's tapped into.
Yeah.
His behavior is out of this world, and I think they're the right people to do that. I really do, and I'm sure you share that.
I do too. And I think people who would say normally support Trump, seeing them and listening to them, could very well see that there is a way with them that's more for them than with Trump, because Trump doesn't offer anything. And we've seen this before in other countries and other societies and other times in history. It's just not, they think they can control someone like him, but once he becomes the boss, there's going to be if God forbid he becomes the boss, all the people who thought they could control him, they're going to find out differently.
Yes. Bill, did you have anything you wanted to jump in with Robert?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think for a lot of us as Italian Americans, we've reckoned with the fact that it has not always been so easy for us in this country. And if you hear the stories that certainly my mother told about what it was like to be a young woman who spoke Italian before she spoke English, and the way that people were treated like they weren't really American enough. And I just want to say to Bob, I think you're one of the people who profoundly changed that, because you became so important in American culture while maintaining your love and your connection to your heritage. I think it helps show Americans that we can be very proud of who we are, and it makes us something special, but we're also, we love this country. This country has been so good to us. Obviously, as New Yorkers, we love what New York City has given to us. I just want to thank you. I've been wanting to say this to you for years. I want to thank you. I think you're not just an icon for your artistic abilities. You're someone who really changed the way people think in this country. And thank you for that and what you're doing tonight and every day to help Kamala and to also spread the word about Trump. It means so much.
Well, thank you. I hope it does. I hope whatever I can do at this point, whatever we all can do is so important. It's so important.
Now, Bob, the other thing I have to ask, because it is dinner, it's Italian Sunday dinner. Tell us a story, tell us a memory, tell us a dish.
You know, I don't have that in my life. I get the closest thing I have is with Marty Scorsese's mother.
Okay, tell us about that.
She makes great pizza. She makes great pizza. She did. She passed away years ago. But anyway, I don't know if I ever told Marty this. I wanted to almost recommend it being made if she would do it for the Tribeca Grill at the time. But it was just great. So simple, so light, so perfect. Anyway, that's my story.
That is the glory of Italian cuisine. You hit it beautifully.
And it is about food, you know. It is about, we would have, my Uncle Archie was a barber. My grandparents came here and they made a better life for themselves. And I look at what Trump says about immigrants now, and if he were in power when my grandparents tried to, we wouldn't be here right now. Yeah. And they thrived, and they worked 2-3 jobs in factories. But in Italy, they were higher up the socioeconomic food chain, but they were willing to do that because they saw a longer term view. And you know, and so, you know, we would have these Sunday dinners, and it had to be fresh. My Uncle Archie, he was a barber, but he had a meat slicer in his basement. Because the cold cuts, Bob, they got to be fresh. And he would slice on them. So, but there was something really wonderful about that, and the passion and the arguing and talking about politics, and so I think all of that comes together with Italian Americans getting behind something like this. And certainly, Robert, you've been at the forefront. And I also want to know when I can start calling you Bob. I don't know if
whenever you want.
What's that?
You just did.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to slip it in, but
well, thank you, everybody. I have to go to this other thing right now, and I have to be there by 6:30. But thank you for letting me go first.
Thank you for all your
good luck with everything. Thank you. Good luck with everything.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
There you go.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh Amazing. My God. You can talk to him all night.
Like we mere mortals got to have a conversation.
Trust me, he would come. I think he came on the Daily Show too. And you know, when you work on a show, you say, "Oh, who's the guest?" Okay, but when he would come, the entire staff is back there. We're watching the monitor, and you know, he's a bit soft spoken, but boy, when he speaks, and so very powerful, and amazing to have him. So we are moving
on. What
on.
he said is powerful. What he said, he's warning people of danger from his heart. And it's beautiful.
Well, I like his message of like, you can't rest, don't lay back. Let's not think that this thing is won, even though momentum is behind this right now. I think that's an important message.
Amen.
So we are going to move on, and we are, going to sort of bring on our next guest. And Bill, I'll let you sort of introduce this gentleman. I think you guys are pretty friendly.
I just want to say to everyone, I always admired. Now, I need to check, Paul, because we've changed a few things. Who are we doing next?
You know what? Maybe you shouldn't start drinking an hour or two before. So here's Bill. Like, oh, this is my first sip of wine. Okay.
Tim. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to check.
But before we do that, everybody, we have QR codes. Okay, donate. Give money. If you can't give money, donate, a volunteer, one of the two. Tell your friends. We want to get this thing moving along. But we are bringing Tim Ryan on, and Bill,
Right. And I'll tell you, everyone, if you watch Tim Ryan's career in Congress representing Ohio and representing a working class district in Ohio, exactly the kind of place that, the commentators and the pundits love to talk about. Well, Tim Ryan, as a Democrat, represented that district and won time and time again. Then he was our nominee for U.S. Senate and waged an incredibly good campaign against really tough odds in a state that's moved a little less Democrat, shall we say. So I admire him. I admire his toughness. I admire that he has a message that really reaches working people. And we're going to be seeing, I believe, a lot more Tim Ryan in the future. So Tim, we may disagree on a few culinary things, but politically, I'm your biggest fan, brother.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was really offended how you desecrated that piece of pizza the other day on social media, but yeah. I love you. And my last name is Ryan, but my mom was 100%. Rochelle Maria Rizzi, R-I-Z-Z-I. And I grew up basically raised Italian, lived a couple blocks from my grandparents, and we had pasta on Tuesday. We had pasta fazool on Thursday. We had Sunday dinner after Mass, and then Cleveland Browns football. And those values that we learned, that were really we were immersed in the church, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church. My mom and grandfather worked the church festival. My grandfather was an usher at Mass, 1045 Mass every week that we went to. And what I think what's important about when we talk about Paisans with my buddy Jim Rosapep and so many great leaders here like Leon Panetta and Tom Suozzi, and obviously if my grandmother and grandfather knew I was anywhere remotely close to Robert De Niro, they would have said I finally made it. But what's interesting is the values that we were raised with from the church, from the school, that I learned about are fundamental to what we're talking about in this election. And when I first got to Congress in 2003, I went from having Annie Rizzi, a strong Italian grandmother, my mom, Rochelle, a strong Italian woman. And when I got to Congress, I met Nancy Pelosi, a strong Italian American leader, and Rosa DeLauro and others. Those values were the same. And it was about community. It was about service. It was about making sure that the government is acting on behalf of trying to lift everybody up, create opportunity, and all the rest. And so this is really exciting for me to just be a small part of this, because I do think that this campaign is getting back to those values. It's about change. It's about a new generation. It's about leaving the era of Trump behind us. But it is so much about these deep values that Kamala said the other day. My values haven't changed. They're the values that we were immersed in, that were embedded in our culture here in the United States from our Italian-American immigrants.
And Tim, these also, when you talk about this, we got to remind people, there's a lot of Italian-Americans in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, in Michigan. Like, we need to reach our fellow Italian-Americans because they could be decisive. We need to pull more and more over to be that margin of victory. And I really want to give you a lot of credit, because I think the message you've talked about for years really is what a lot of our fellow Italian-Americans can hear and need to hear.
No doubt. In those swing states, we know it's going to be thousands of votes that can potentially determine. Yes. So we really have to get the Italian-American vote out. And again, I think the idea of talking about values is really what's important. And that's why I think this campaign is really deeply resonating with people. So I'm great and grateful to be here. Thank you, Bill, for your leadership on this. Jim Rosapep, my man, the ambassador. Always good to have an ambassador in the family, as you know. And, salute to everybody. Thank you so much. Let's get out, hit the QR code. And Bill, don't eat your pizza with a fork and a knife. You're insulting our people.
What are you saying?
There's a rumor that you eat your pizza. I already saw you ate it backwards with coconut on it. And I almost
Kamala
didn't come.
Harris. I did that for Kamala Harris because I believe, brother.
I almost didn't come on the call when you ate it from the back. I was like, this guy's not Italian. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Are you starting up with me about knife and fork now?
Well, then there was a knife and a fork issue that you eat your pizza with a knife and a fork.
You have an issue with this?
Italian guy with a knife in his hand. I don't know.
Tim,
from New York.
You talking to me? Tim, look, Tim, I want to make you watch.
Oh, boy.
Okay? This is important for you to learn. Like in Napoli.
This hurts my heart, Bill.
This is what they do, okay?
This hurts my heart.
This is the instruction for you. We're doing like live how-to. See, this is...
We got to get you a bib.
Italian. This is original, traditional pizza. You do this, then you do this. That's how good that is?
Okay. You know what crossed my mind, Bill, when I watched you do that? Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
I kind of wish that Robert De Niro would do to you what he did to Billy Batts in Goodfellas after I watched it. I kind of wish he'd I don't shine shoes no more.
Yeah, well, we agree to disagree on this one. God bless you, brother.
You're the best.
You
Hit
too,
the
man.
QR code, make a little money for the campaign. Let's bring this thing home.
Amen. God bless.
Salute.
Bill, I got to be honest with you. I thought we were you guys were gonna go to blows on that at one point.
Yeah, it was getting tense.
I'm on your side. I mean, because we're doing this, but don't if you put a napkin in here, then if you do one of these, then you're gonna lose me.
It's a big tent here.
Yes.
Everyone's welcome. Okay.
We bring it in. We're gonna go move on to Congressman Suozzi. I'll let you do the honors, if you will.
Of course. Well, everyone, this is to me a guy I not only love as a human being, but when you think about how we win back the House, and obviously we need to give Kamala Harris a Senate and a House to work with. One of the people who's already given us a head start is Tom Suozzi, because he went into a really tough district and already has gotten it back for us in the special election, and we need him to win again in November. But this is a guy who speaks to people across the spectrum, wins a lot of votes, including a lot of Italian-American votes, folks who you might even call moderate or even conservative, wins Republican votes over. This is an example to all of us it can be done. So, Brother Suozzi, I want to thank you for what you do every day. Tell us what you're thinking, my man.
Thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate you. Thanks to everybody on this call. Everybody's impressed by De Niro. I'm impressed by Leon Panetta. Leon, thanks for everything you've done for so many decades. You're the best. And thank you to everybody for helping out. I'll be quick. I'm in the airport. I'm heading down to Washington. But the bottom line is that my father was born in Italy, lived a great American success story like a lot of people on this call. And the immigrant experience is a central part of many of our lives. That's how I define America, by the American dream and the experience my father went through. And Kamala Harris has had that immigrant experience. And we need to remind Italian Americans of that experience. And it's painful for all of us that immigration has become this negative in this country because of the whole issue at the border. And we got to remind people that Kamala Harris said she would sign the bipartisan bill that was negotiated this past spring to secure the border. And that deal, which was negotiated by Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, which, hired more agents and even built wall and had more judges and everything else people have been talking about that are concerned about the border, she said she would sign it. But that bill, which was ready to go forward, President Biden helped to negotiate it. Conservative Republicans, liberal Democrats worked together to make that deal. And Trump swooped in and sabotaged the deal. He came and said, listen, I don't want to give Biden a victory. I want to run in the chaos. So, one, let's remind people that the immigrant experience that we've been through, that we cherish so much, that means so much to us, is the experience that Kamala Harris has gone through. And number two, you're concerned about the border? Well, Kamala Harris and President Biden supported that deal to secure the border, and Trump sabotaged it. So it proves that it's all BS, and he's just doing it to politicize the issue as opposed to trying to fix it. So this is an important group of people because we've lost a lot of Italian Americans over the years from the ranks of the Democratic Party. And to bring them back, we've got to remind them of exactly what Mayor de Blasio was talking about the values that Kamala Harris has. Those values are the same immigrant experience values that we value, of hard work, of education, of family, of sticking to your values to get things done to try and help people, and remind people about on the issues, especially when it's so central to all of us, immigration, that she wants to secure the border as well as treat people like human beings. And Trump will just continue to try and make immigration a negative instead of what we know on this call to be a very positive part of what makes America, America. So listen, there's so many luminaries on this call, so I'm not going to keep on talking. I just want to say thank you to everybody. So many of you helped me in my race, and I'm grateful to all of you for helping Vice President Harris in this race. And together, we will do this, and we will improve people's lives and get back to our basic values in our country. So thanks, everybody. And I'm sorry I'm cutting off because I'm here at the airport. And I know
Congressman, let me just jump in real quick. Congressman, I fly a lot. You have nowhere to go because your plane has just been canceled and your bag is on the way to Modesto. So hang out, go to Sabaros, my friend, because you ain't going anywhere.
Thanks for that. Pick me up.
And you're right. She's a physical manifestation of the very thing that he and some of his followers are afraid of. You know, the great American story, she represents that. And it's so well put. So thank you. We know you have to go, but really well put.
Hey, Paul, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. My wife doesn't, and my son and my dog, but you guys, that's good.
We'll talk to her.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Let's hit the QR codes, people. Donate, volunteer. The thermometer's rising. We want to keep that thing moving. And your support is critical here to make this win happen in November. But let's move on and bring in a very, very an amazing guest. Former Defense Secretary Leon Panetta is joining us now. He's a former CIA director, White House Chief of Staff, OMB director, and member of Congress, where he served as chair of the House Budget Committee. He also, when I was there, he at the DNC gave a very compelling address to last month's DNC, where he compared the foreign policy credentials of the two candidates for president, and calling Trump's policies any kind of credentials is actually doing him a favor. But it's wonderful and an honor to welcome Leon Panetta. Welcome to the event, and thank you for doing this.
Oh, wait, you're muted. You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
All right.
Sorry, we ran out of time. Thanks for joining us, though. No,
Italians have to learn how to run this damn thing. So thank you for your patience. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Bill, for hosting this great show. And my thanks to everyone, to Brenda, to Lucy, and to others who helped put this together. I'm honored. I'm honored to be a part of this as the son of Italian immigrants, to be able to join all of my paisanos in supporting Kamala for President of the United States. And it's appropriate, as you pointed out, Bill, to do this on Sunday, because this is a day when Italian families usually come together for dinner and recognize and pay tribute and celebrate family and faith and the relationship that we all have to one another. My family did that and continues to do that. And we did it usually over a big plate of gnocchi that my mother made. She taught me how to make gnocchi. And so I continue that tradition with our family as well. I also am honored because our parents, my parents came here, and all immigrants come here to seek a better life. My father used to say that the reason my mother and he came to this country was to give their children a better life. And that is the American dream. And I've had the great opportunity to be able to live that American dream. And that's the reason it's important for all of us Italians, but for everyone in this country, to support Kamala Harris, because she's the daughter of immigrants. She's lived the American dream, and she understands why it's so important to provide that American dream to others. She wants to be able to provide the freedom and the opportunity and frankly, the security that the American dream needs. Security not just at home, but abroad. As you mentioned, Paul, I had the honor to speak at the Democratic Convention because I strongly believe that Kamala will make a very strong commander-in-chief. Why? Because she follows in the footsteps of almost every president, Republican and Democrat, in the post-Cold War era, with the exception of Trump. But every president has shared very much the same values about our national security, the importance of world leadership, the importance of building strong alliances. Trump thinks we ought to be an isolationist country and withdraw from alliances. Something that didn't work before World War II, and it's not going to work now. We believe deeply in the importance of presidents standing up to tyrants and to terrorists, not appeasing them the way Trump tends to do. And also to recognize the role that our veterans play in serving our country and fighting and dying in order to protect our democracy. To understand the importance of those fundamental values. And the problem is Trump doesn't understand, nor does he share any of those values. I think the most disturbing thing about Trump is the fact that he does not understand the sacrifice of our veterans. When he dares to call them losers and suckers, it tells you that he has absolutely no respect for people that are heroes in our society. So there really isn't any choice here. There's no choice. There's only one choice, and that's Kamala. So I want to thank everybody. We all need to work very hard, support Kamala because she believes in the American dream, because she believes in a strong America, but most importantly, because Kamala Harris will be a commander-in-chief that we can trust to basically preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So God bless all of you, and let's get to work.
Well, thank you so much for doing this and taking the time. And Bill, I'll let you jump in here and have a couple of words with Mr. Secretary.
Bill, you're on mute. You did what Italians do.
Well, you guys are really embarrassing me, both of you. I can't work like this.
Aspetta. Okay. Everyone's a critic around here. I got it. Everyone's a critic around here. For those of us who have watched the pathway of our people in this country, I say this from the heart. There are two people, precisely two people, who have gone the farthest in the entire history of Italian Americans in this nation in terms of serving this nation at the highest levels of government. One, we are going to hear from later, and we honor deeply Nancy Pelosi. The second is Leon Panetta. And there's very few Americans down the 250-year history who have ever contributed as much or held so many crucial positions simultaneously as Leon Panetta. But I have to say it is both a tribute to him, but also a statement of we're still making our way a bit in America, that there's only a handful of people we can say have really, really reached the pinnacle. And Leon, I just want to honor you for having shown all Italian Americans what's possible, and also having taught America something about Italian Americans by your incredible service. And it's kind of weird to have to say we are still making our way a bit, but I think it's true. But also, just one more thing, you know, it's hard over decades and decades of public life to always present humanity and sensibility, common sense, and big thinking. And I've seen you do this, and no one has ever seen a moment where you didn't consistently show heart and mind. And I just want to say thank you, and thank you for showing us what it's supposed to look like to be a great public servant.
Bill, I can't thank you for those kind words, pal. It was great to be able to have somebody like Bill de Blasio be head of the most important city in this country and do the job that you did. We all thank you for your service. And I hope you're enjoying life after. I'm here in Carmel Valley, California, enjoying life after. So the greatest thing about public service is if we can do anything that makes a difference in people's lives, that makes it all worthwhile. And you've had the chance to make a difference in people's lives, and so have I. And we hope that tonight, by supporting Kamala Harris, we're going to make a hell of a difference in people's lives for the future.
Amen. And there are a lot of great things about life after. I'm proving it right here. Thank you, Leon.
Mangia figlio mio.
Leon, can you get good Italian in Carmel? Can you get some good?
Yeah. You bet. There are a lot of Italians out here. A lot of them came out to be fishermen in Monterey, and then a lot of them opened up Italian restaurants. But it's a great, not only a great place to live, but it's a great place for Italian food as well.
All right, great. So we'll come over. I'll stay over at the house. I'm sure you have a guest house or something, garage.
Listen, there are Mercurios out here, so you may have some cugini out here.
Oh, come on. I'll bring you some fresh tomatoes from the garden. All right. Thank you so much for doing this and for those profound words. They're very moving, and thank you. And it's much appreciated.
Thank you, Bill.
So real quick before we move on, Bill, we're up to over $12,000 already in donations. So, yep. And we're moving along. So QR codes are there to donate and to volunteer. So please use them. Bill, I'll pass it off to you. We have a very terrific actor now coming up and a great guy. So I'll let you do the honors.
For the price of a dozen cannoli, you could help elect Kamala Harris president. So everyone, come on, Italians. We can do more. Open up those checkbooks, get online, open up the wallet. Let's help Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. But now, what a treat. So I got to tell you that some people live their values. And it doesn't matter how famous they become or beloved they become, they live their values. So one day I was in Brooklyn and I met one of these people, and I didn't expect to. I was knocking on doors running for city council in Park Slope, Brooklyn. I knock on a door. Who opens the door? Steve Buscemi. And from that moment, 20 plus years ago to today, I have seen the kindness, the decency, the friendship, the warmth of this man, no matter how many great movies he's in or TV shows. By the way, everyone, look for him now on Wednesday. I don't mean the date, I mean the show. Amazing, amazing show that Steve's going to be taking on a great role in. But also, not just as an incredible actor, but this is a man who devoted himself to the firefighters in New York City, especially after 9/11, when our fire department was decimated and people were in such pain. He was one of the people who came and gave his heart and soul to help bring our firefighters and their families back to some peace and some hope for the future. And I've seen it firsthand, the love he gives in his incredibly grounded, humble way. And he is a New York City gem. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Buscemi. And he's wearing glasses to look like an intellectual.
All right, can you hear me? I forgot that I was muted. Thank you, Bill. Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
You're good. You're good.
Okay, good. Well, how do you do, fellow Kamala supporters? Buonasera. So full disclosure, I'm only half a Paisan. Lest anyone accuse me of just recently turning Italian. Just want to say I've been Italian or half Italian my whole life. My grandparents on my dad's side, they emigrated from Italy when they were kids, and they grew up, to be hardworking citizens, and they made a good life for their family. And yeah, look, I think most immigrants are just looking for a better life, right? Better opportunities, and they don't deserve to be punished for pursuing that dream. Both my parents are from Brooklyn, and where I was born, and I, lived for many years, where I met Bill. And I've always considered myself to be more sort of Brooklyn American than anything else. I love Brooklyn. I love this city because it's home to many different kinds of people, cultures, nationalities, religions, race, gender, political beliefs. And, I think diversity is one of its strengths. And I feel that about our country too. And I look to leaders who are trying to unify rather than divide. Kamala Harris, she is obviously smart, strong, kind, tough, inclusive. She is uniquely qualified, and she's already proven to be an excellent decision maker by choosing Governor Walz as her running mate. And yeah, look, there's so many issues and policies at stake, right? Affordable health care, education, meaningful green initiatives, enacting sensible gun laws. I don't understand why we are banning books and not automatic weapons. And of course, a woman's right to choose, so important, and respecting, people's choices to not have kids. Everyone has a stake in our future. Sorry, JD. And, we know that there's no perfect candidates or politicians or presidents, and we're not always going to agree with every, policy and decision, foreign or domestic, and that's okay. We still have free speech in this country and the right to peacefully protest, and voting is a right that we should never take for granted. And of course, what worries me about another Trump administration is that, he's like he's a my way or the highway type of guy. He says he only hires the best people, but he actually fired most of his best people. And, he's just going to surround himself this time, if he's elected, with people who were just, 100% loyal to him and his ways. And we know all too well he'll do anything to stay in power, including inciting violence. So anyway, as my friend, the dude, says, that is just my opinion, man. He says the line much better. Granted, I'm just an actor, but I could almost hear the trolls out there quoting another famous Lebowski line from Walter. Shut the fuck up, Donnie. And I get it. I get it. Why should you listen to a privileged old white guy named Donnie?
Who's clearly doing this from his dentist waiting room. So I don't know where you are, but you look like you're in a dentist because of the tree or something. I'm sure it's a very nice place. Sorry, but
well, I am constantly working on my teeth, so I'm always at the dentist.
I'm so sorry.
You didn't let me finish that last line.
Oh, sorry.
No, say it, Steve. Say it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I would say yes. You shouldn't listen to a guy named Donnie or Donald. Get it? Okay.
See what he did?
My
See what he
bad.
did? Or Cheerio. The hell.
But listen, I am so looking forward to the debate. Break a leg, Kamala. And to everyone out there, grazie mille, buona fortuna. Donate. And thank you, Bill, and thank you everyone for joining. And yes, did I have a little wine tonight? Of course.
Cheers. For years, Paul, Steve Buscemi has been saying he's Indian American. Now he's conveniently suddenly Italian American. I always thought he was Indian. I mean, he just only talked about. I've seen him in Indian restaurants.
Yes.
And now suddenly he's Italian because he wants to be a part of this Zoom.
Who wouldn't want to be a part of this Zoom?
Okay, that's good. Okay, now he's good.
There you go. Steve, thank you so much for doing this and taking the time, and really well put. Tremendous.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Have a good night.
We are rolling here. Please use your QR codes, donate, volunteer. We need you. I tell you, I love these speeches, Bill. They're really sort of heartfelt, and they seem to resonate across a common theme of, sort of the immigrant experience and life being better. And I think it's really terrific. I want to bring a special guest in who we take from another part of the world. Live from Italy is Christian DeSanzo, a member of the Italian Parliament representing North America. Welcome.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. It's truly an honor to be on this call. I wanted to bring you the greetings from the Italian Democratic Party, and we're very excited to see the work that you're doing for the Italian American community. We value a lot our relationship with the Italian American Democrats, and it's really great to see this type of call, this type of excitement that is coming up. And I think as an Italian Americans, it's a community that comes from immigration, and with immigration, there are some values. And these shared values are going to be part of the experience of the immigration. And it's what I think is going to be really important in this moment in the world. I think it's important, not just in the United States, but in the entire world in this moment. So thank you so much for the work you are doing. Keep it going, keep it going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for what you're doing and sort of being involved in that end of things. It's really great to have you being part of this. Bill?
And I just want to say the Italian Democratic Party, which we are so closely allied with, has been moving up and up lately, becoming stronger and stronger, fighting against the right wing in Italy. And we say, God bless you, and give all of our salute to the Italian Democrats and to Ellie Schlein, your leader, for really making a difference. And
absolutely. And Bill, I was there when you were home. You met with Ellie in the Senate. So I was there as well, so it was great to see you.
Grazie per tutti.
Grazie. Ciao, grazie a tutti.
Grazie a tutti. Everyone, I'm gonna bring us back to the bigger screen here. Here we go. And bring over a guy who has helped to organize Italian Americans now for years in the Democratic Party, former ambassador. He has really, really helped us to see how much more we can do to reach our own people. And it helps that he was born in Rome and loves his heritage, and he took that inspiration and helped to make the Italian American Democratic Leadership Council what it is today. Also, in his spare time, he is a state senator in the state of Maryland. He's got a lot of day jobs. But I want to raise a glass to Jim Rosapep and your whole team, your amazing team. I want to say everyone who put the last few weeks of their lives into making this come together. So Jim, thank you so much. Take it away.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks for being here in Baltimore's Little Italy with us, to do this program. Very kind words, Bill. As you know, I'm just a pretty face. You were the brains behind this. And we appreciate everyone's role because so many people have jumped in such a short period of time to put this together. One of the things that Bill didn't mention was I don't speak Italian. My parents did not want me to understand what they were saying. But I've kept close ties to Italy, my relatives in Italy. I can tell you a lot of stories offline. But I love Italy and I love my Italian American heritage, and I'm so pleased to be working with all of you. The other thing I want to thank all the previous speakers. That gave me the chance to eat. So I've actually been eating and drinking while the other speakers have been very eloquent. So I want to thank Leon Panetta and Robert Niro and everyone else for their work on this call. One of the themes that people have talked about is our immigrant heritage and how when our families came here, many of them, if not most of them, were not welcomed with open arms. But then the Democratic Party came along, from FDR and JFK to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which opened up opportunities for us to get ahead, to get good jobs, to create small businesses, to protect our kids with good education, to protect our seniors with Social Security and Medicare, the GI Bill, you down the list, health insurance. It's the Democrats who have provided the opportunities for us as Italian Americans and our families to get ahead. That's why I'm for Kamala and for Tim. And that's why the Italian American Democratic Leadership Council has sponsored this event tonight. We've been the voice of the Italian American community of the Democratic Party for 30 years. For example, we were for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker before it was cool. We were for Dr. Jill Giacoppa Biden to be First Lady and the first Italian American in the White House before Joe got elected. And of course, as you know, Joe is an IBM, an Italian by marriage, obviously an Irishman of quite sound judgment. Our families came to America for the same reason Kamala Harris's families came to America, for the same reason Tim Walz came to America. As everyone has said, they did it to get an opportunity to get ahead. The problem this year is all that's at risk, from protecting working people and protecting seniors to protecting democracy itself. Many of us have relatives in Italy, and most of us know Italy's history. So we know better than most that fascism didn't work in Italy. It was not good for Italy. Fascism will not work in the United States and is not good for America. So we've got to win this election. So please go to this QR code in the bottom left-hand corner and give. It's going to help. And it's going to, bottom right, I misspoke. Bottom right on your screen is where you give money. The money helps all of our efforts to the Italian-American Democratic Leadership Council to help Kamala and Tim, and also help, and you'll hear more about this later in the program, some key Italian-American House Democrats who can help take back control of the House so the Democrats have it to work with Kamala and with Tim. So please donate. I'll give you a chance to go to the QR code. I'm going to have a little sip of limoncello, my favorite Italian drink. But there's also more that we can do. As Paul has mentioned, we need your time and not just your money. For the next 8 weeks, we'll be calling Italian-American swing voters in key states, explaining why so many Paisans are for Kamala and for Tim and for our Democratic Italian-American candidates. So right now, go to the bottom left-hand corner and push the donate button and tell us how you'd like to be involved. There's a place for everybody.
The volunteer button.
The volunteer button. I apologize.
It's going to work.
That's why it's a team effort here.
Yeah, it's going to work.
But of course, de Blasio is eating right now, just FYI. So anyway, do both. Give money, donate and volunteer. You can do both, you can do either, but we need both. We only have 8 weeks, so time is of the essence. We can do this. When Paisans fight, Paisans win. Now let's welcome Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro of the great state of Connecticut. As you know, Rosa is the past and future chair of the U.S. House Appropriations Committee, and she's been at the core of the Italian-American Democratic Leadership Council since the beginning. Rosa, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And buonasera a tutti. Wonderful to be with everyone tonight. And Jim, thank you for the introduction. And as the mayor pointed out, you have served this country as ambassador, state senator, and the Italian-American community, I think it's fair to say, is your whole life. And we're all grateful to you for that. Now, just a couple of points that I need to make. Mayor, only the Marigans eat their pizza with a fork and a knife. And New Haven, Connecticut is the pizza capital of the country.
I'm sorry, it's Rhode Island. It's Providence.
Let's get it on the table here.
Brooklyn.
All right, guys?
Brooklyn. We know it's Brooklyn.
No, look, I will make reference to Brooklyn because Mayor de Blasio, I did a fundraiser with you at my son's pizza restaurant in Brooklyn, Roscoe's, all those years ago. So anyway, a big shout out to Brenda and Lucy for the great work. For everyone who is joining tonight, my God, just to build the momentum and the strength for the Vice President Harris and for Governor Walz to take the White House back. What a star-studded group, so proud to be a part of it. And I think what you've demonstrated here tonight, the size of the strength of the Italian-American community. In a moment, I will have an honor to introduce 4 wonderful candidates for Congress so that we can take the House back, and 1 statewide candidate, all of whom have been endorsed by the Italian-American Democratic Leadership Council. Just let me say a couple of words about the importance of the election. This election is about the middle class. It is about the American dream. It's about our values as a country. I, like all of you, I'm so deeply proud of my heritage. And I'm proud because it shaped me growing up, the values that it instilled, values the importance of hard work, of family, of faith, of service to others. You know, as so many of the elected folks on the press asks us all the time, what motivates you? What makes you vote the way you do? What makes you take up the issues that you do? And it's not for me, the 30 plus years I've served in the House of Representatives, but my answer to them is growing up in an Italian Catholic household. I grew up in Worcester Square, New Haven, Connecticut, a daughter of an immigrant family, a first generation, like so many on the call, but my folks could only dare dream that their daughter would serve in the United States House of Representatives. They worked hard to build a better life for themselves, for their community, and a mother, an indomitable spirit who said, and the principles that guide me every day, never take no for an answer and never give up. They served on the city council. They showed me what government could do to help people to reach their potential, to stand up for working families. So those principles and those values are front and center. They were in my first run in 1990 and in all of my work since, whether it's Affordable Care Act, women's health, equal pay, paid leave, quality childcare, education, and more. And so the fight for progress on these issues has never been more important. And I believe America is at a turning point. The difference in values could not be more clear, my friends. Kamala Harris said before her nomination, and I quote, "There's a choice in this election. Donald Trump plans to devastate the middle class, to punish working people, make the cost of living go up for millions of Americans. And on the other hand, what we will do to bring down the costs, increase the security, the financial stability of your family, expand opportunity for working middle class Americans." That is the choice. She can win. We can win. The country can win. We just need your help. We need all of you out there, your help to get across this finish line. I'm going to now introduce, as I said, some of the candidates who are ready to help us to make that change. And remember, all of you can support all of these candidates by scanning the QR code on your screen. So with that, let me just start first. So proud to introduce Joe Salerno, engineer, businessman, attorney, running hard to represent South Jersey in the Congress in order to help to lower the cost of living, expand access to childcare, housing, and education. Joe, take it away.
Hello, I'm Joe Salerno, candidate for Congress in New Jersey's 2nd District. I am honored to be endorsed by the Italian American Democrats. You know, with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz at the top of the ticket, it is a great time to run as a Democrat all around the country, but especially in South Jersey. People here, they honor the same values that Kamala Harris does, the same values that my family taught me, that everyone deserves a fair shot at success, that you look down at no one because of who their parents are or where they're from, and you take care of your neighbors when they need a little help. That's the example my wife and I tried to set for our 4 children, and it's the same example I tried to set for customers and colleagues while running a machine shop that makes parts for military aircraft, and later on while running software businesses. But sometimes people forget those basic values. The incumbent in our district most certainly did when he switched parties and swore his undying loyalty forever to Donald Trump. And he meant it. To follow Trump, he changed just about every position he ever held. On reproductive rights, on the environment, on organized labor, on veterans' benefits, on same-sex marriage, it goes on and on. Well, I am thrilled that South Jersey has that figured out and is ready to flip this seat from red to blue. And I can't wait to bring our shared values to Washington, D.C. and get to work for South Jersey. I'm Joe Salerno, Democratic candidate for Congress in New Jersey's 2nd.
Next, we have Tricia Calvadesi running to unseat Lauren Boebert in Colorado. Yay! Tricia is a fighter for rural families and for healthcare access, and I hope that we see her in the Congress and she will be a colleague.
Ciao. My name is Tricia Calvarese, and I'm the Democratic nominee running in Colorado 4 against Lauren Boebert. And I support Kamala Harris because she exemplifies the very best of our Italian American values. Above all, love and care of family. Let me share just one story of how. My dad, mio padre, passed last year, and I'm so grateful for the time that I had with him. In fact, it was 4 years ago he was diagnosed with terminal kidney cancer. But I got years of life with him beyond the expectation of that diagnosis, thanks to life-extending medication. Out of pocket, it would have cost $191,000, but it was covered thanks to his union retiree benefits. Now, while Lauren Boebert voted against that bill, while Donald Trump wants to roll back the ACA, Vice President Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is lowering costs, saving billions, and is having a tangible impact on millions of families across America. That's what this is about. It's about caring for each other, community over division, hope over fear, and love over hate. So to my extended Italian family, please join me in supporting Kamala Harris for president. Thank you so much. Ciao bueno.
I am proud to introduce my current colleague and Congressman Chris Deluzio, who has been a champion for the people of Northwest Pittsburgh, for union workers and for rebuilding American manufacturing. And I look forward to our continued work together in the Congress. Chris?
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be on with some fellow Italian Americans. Would not be a Sunday dinner without, the right kind of apron. Well, hello from Western Pennsylvania. I'm excited to be on with you guys tonight. It's great to get this group together. I think so many of us are proud of our heritage, of our people who came to this country chasing the American dream. I certainly am. When I talk about my region, my family's Italian heritage, I come back to some basic values that I think will sound familiar to everybody on this call. Hard work, patriotism, sacrifice, right? Those are the kinds of values that I think we all know in Italian American families, that I'm very proud of my region, Western Pennsylvania, that are so central to us. And look, I'm lucky. I have a district that's home to more than 100,000 folks who have Italian heritage. So there's a lot of pride in my part of Pennsylvania, my part of the world. Talk about favorite recipe or meals for Sunday dinner, a big part of so many Italian families' traditions, mine included, obviously a red sauce. My wife and I have been making baked ziti as one of the recipes that over the years we've really liked a lot. Classic Italian-American dish in my mind, though you really can't beat with my little kids just doing some delicious red sauce and spaghetti. They love it. So that's been one of our favorites recently. And sometimes you stick with the basics, you stick with the classics. Look, I think the Italian-American story is a quintessentially American one. It is about the American dream. It is about people fleeing economic hardship, searching for freedom, searching for economic opportunity, and contributing to the fabric of our great country. That is the Italian-American story. It is, again, I think, so fundamentally American. If we ever lose that promise of America, that American dream, well, I think our country can never let it happen. And I think it's something that we should all be proud of. It's not unique to the Italian-American experience. I think it's something that our country has to always be held up as a beacon for people all around the world. And I'm proud to be part of that story, and I'm proud that my family is part of that story. Tie that to our political values. I talk a lot about the common good. I talk about our freedom and standing up for each other and our neighbors being all in this together. That's fundamentally American. I think about what's at stake this election, what's on the ballot. That's it. And I look around a lot of rooms, and it can be rooms that aren't just Democrats, and there are people who love this country, want our democracy to succeed. I know that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are up to this task and are ready to govern for all of us. I know that we're going to do the hard work in Pennsylvania and in Western Pennsylvania to get it done, to hold the line for this great country of ours. So I'm so proud to get to spend some time with all of you, to see and be a part of so many Italian Americans coming together for this great ticket of ours to help Democrats up and down the ticket hold the line for our democracy.
Now I'm really delighted to introduce former Congressman and current Wisconsin Secretary of Revenue, Peter Barca. Peter has been a teacher, a legislator, a leader who stood up against anti-worker, anti-education bills in Wisconsin, and I know he will do the same in Washington, D.C. Peter.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Peter Bracco. I'm a former member of Congress running to retake my seat in the 1st District of Wisconsin. And my Italian heritage and family values that I grew up with are the most important of anything that I received as a child. And I'm glad to see you're all gathering around for a nice dinner, just like we did every Sunday with our family. And I think about the values that I grew up with, and I see where it's reflected in the vice president leading the ticket. You know, the aspirations to make sure that we have a cohesive family or party in this case, and that our goals of trying to make sure that we look out for all of our family members, help those most in need in order to succeed. And in that way, we all become stronger. So, buona notte and buona fortuna. Thank you so much.
Finally, I'm proud to introduce Eugene DePasquale, former Auditor General of Pennsylvania and current candidate for Attorney General. Eugene is a champion for reproductive freedom and for the middle class, fighting against price gouging and wage theft by big businesses. Eugene.
Hi, Eugene DePasquale here, part of the Paisans for Harris-Walz, and I'm the Democratic nominee for Pennsylvania Attorney General. So feel free to go to dpasquale4ag.com. Kamala Harris, I believe, is someone that represents what Italian values are in this election. What do I mean by that? Well, growing up in an Italian neighborhood, an Italian family, it was all about community, it was all about family. If you look at her policies, it's about looking out for one another, it's about looking out for your community, and it's about looking out for the fellow person and looking out for your family. That's what Kamala Harris represents in this campaign, and that's why she'll make a great president. And why is it important to vote? Let's be clear. Our democracy and our fundamental freedoms are at stake. Kamala Harris is the candidate, along with Tim Walz, who will fight for our freedoms, fight for our families, and fight for our community. And that's why everyone, whether you're Italian or not, should go out and vote for Kamala Harris for President of the United States. Let's make history and get her elected, and we can keep this country moving forward. And I know everyone really out there is looking for one key piece of information from me. And that is, what's my favorite Italian dish? Well, every Sunday we had homemade pasta, which was spaghetti and meatballs, especially the homemade sauce. Some people in Philly call it gravy, but if you're in Pittsburgh, you call it sauce. Either way, it was delicious. Again, Eugene DePasquale, Democratic candidate for Attorney General in Pennsylvania and part of the Paisans for Harris-Walz.
Okay. Hello. Paul, I don't know, you out there still?
I am still here. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Keep those donations coming. The QR code. By the way, we're over $16,000 already, so we're chugging along. Also, QR code is there to volunteer. And very quickly before we move on, Congresswoman, what initially got you into politics? What was the thing?
Yeah.
Always a point in somebody's life, whether a child or whatever, and they go, I feel like that's my calling. What was it for you?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, both my folks, as I mentioned, were involved in local politics. Both served on the city council in New Haven. And, you know, they didn't draft omnibus legislation and so forth. But what they did is they made government work for people in our community. Our kitchen table was where people could come if your kid needed a job, if someone having trouble with immigration, Social Security, whatever it was. So I grew up, I just grew up around it, and there wasn't a pivotal point in running. I didn't know that I was going to really get into. I wanted to be a dancer. See, I wanted to be a tap dancer. My father said, get a more stable profession, So, but it was. I did work for campaigns. I managed campaigns. I managed Senator Dodd's first Senate campaign, served as his chief of staff in Washington, and then managed his second Senate campaign. And then the seat opened up, and you have to make a decision at that point, And while I had helped elect a lot of people, I had never run myself. So the very first office I ran for was as a member of Congress.
Rosa.
It was a very steep learning curve. Very steep learning curve.
You could need to, you could be a hand,
Yes.
Italian
Yes.
hand
I
language.
can't help
And
it.
by the way, can I just say the framing of your shot? I feel like Tim Burton framed your shot. Like I feel like I'm on the set of Beetlejuice. It's so wonderful. And I think now I speak for everybody watching. We'd like to see you tap dance, Congresswoman. So
Oh,
go.
listen, it is, if I could, I would take lessons now again. I would love it.
I got 2 tomatoes from Connecticut. These are from Stonington, Connecticut. Fresh.
Okay, you're going to
We'll bring
slice them with a little garlic, parsley, and
Oh
olive
my
oil.
God, you're always telling me what to do.
All
Jeez.
right.
You've been wonderful. Thank you so much for doing
Thank
this and taking the time and all your passion. And I'm sure everything you do always makes a difference. So thank you for being part of this.
Thank
today.
you. I'm just honored and delighted to be with all of you. Cent'anni.
Cheers. So Bill, we're raising money, and Joe, we're cooking along. I cannot believe, and I'm not mocking you. Like, you are eating so much during this thing. I don't like. I've never seen
Garlic bread.
It's all carbs. Like, at what point do you plan to fall asleep during this? I'm just curious.
There's tomato sauce. That's a vegetable.
Well, listen, we want to bring on our next guest who's been waiting patiently. And this gentleman has been influential in national politics, to say the least. He's Jim Messina, President Obama's campaign manager in 2012 and a key member of the White House staff. He was known as the Fixer in the White House, which, man, I wish I could have that title. That is the coolest. I'm afraid to even talk to him. I feel like I might just be shot quietly while I'm talking to him. You can fix it.
Well, I add one note to the introduction. In 2013, after he drove the Democratic presidential ticket of Obama and Biden to victory, the Italian-American Democratic Leadership Council gave Jim Messina our Machiavelli Award.
Ooh,
Ooh.
coveted.
There you go. Well, I think that is the time when you bring the person on to be seen. This is Jim Messina, everybody. Mr. Fixer, Machiavelli. How are you?
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone. It's very true. I've won lots of awards, but the biggest thing was my Machiavelli Award, thanks to Jim. Greetings, everyone. 57 days before the election, Jim Messina from Missoula, Montana, where not a lot of people know there's real American Italian history. Our Italian brothers and sisters, including my grandfather, were interned there during World War II as threats to national security. And just a couple decades later, their grandson would be the president's campaign manager. So we all have our history, and it's a huge honor for me to be part of this. I'm sitting in Congresswoman Pelosi's congressional district. 57 days before the election tonight, I'll headline a Harris event. But those of you who know me know that I just care about the numbers. Every night we run 66,000 simulations of the election. I'm obsessed with the battleground states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, where as of last night, we had all 3 states tied, 48-48 in Pennsylvania, 48-48 in Wisconsin, and 47-47 in Michigan. If you cannot understand how close that is, I think this will be the closest American presidential election in a very long time. The good news from the simulations, which Rosa will be happy about, is that we have the Democrats taking the House back. And that is a very, very big deal, and that'll help democracy, and it'll help newly minted President Harris. I got the chance to run the campaign to pass Obamacare, which 10 presidents tried to get done, and we finally got done. And it reminded us that sometimes it takes Italians to do it. Because every day Nancy Pelosi would call me up and explain to me how fucking stupid I was. And if I would just listen to her, she would, we'd get this bill passed. And in fact, we did. And it's because they put a bunch of Italians in charge. So I just need 2 things before I kick it back to Paul. I just need, for the next 57 days, we need you to give us all your time and all your money. It's really easy, really, just your time and your money. And, you know, if you don't, democracy's screwed. And if you do, we'll win. So it's pretty easy. So thanks, everyone, for being part of this. I'm sure my brother and sister are getting our family's risotto recipe ready in Missoula tonight. And I'll be on top of a glass of Barolo as soon as I'm done with my next event. Take care, you all. I'll see you on the campaign trail.
Can we jump in here? I like how it was sort of like an ultimatum that he gave. That's what a fixer does. Like you either do this or you don't do this. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to you, to your establishment, if you were not to vote the way I would want you to. You're very intimidating because you have a very sort of like, if I can say it, white demeanor. Like you don't come off.
What?
Yeah, you kind of come off like, I don't know. But you're 100% Italian?
I'm 70% Italian. Yeah, my grandfather really is from Messina.
Okay, well, I'd like to see the 70%, please. Now,
recount.
All right, sounds good, Jim. Thank you for doing this, and thanks for the great insight. It's always very helpful. Thank you, Bill. I think we're going to part company with you, unfortunately, and Joe. Is that right?
And thank you, Paul. You are steering the ship beautifully. You are the captain of our Italian ocean liner.
Okay. Well, then we're about to hit an iceberg, my friend.
No icebergs. It's the Mediterranean, baby. It's the Mediterranean.
That's right. What do I think? It's fun to have both of you. Great job. Thank you. We will continue, and all of you watch, and thanks again. Thanks for making this happen and steering the ship with us here.
Amen.
We are going to move on, and we are going to bring on our new co-host for the remainder of this event. And it's somebody that I actually have a connection with going back to Providence, Rhode Island. It's an honor to be able to introduce him. He was the mayor of my town where I grew up, which has the best pizza in the world, and I'm sure he'll back me up on that. He's the chairman of the Italian Democratic Leadership Council, former ambassador, former mayor, all-around great guy, Joe Paolino. Joe, welcome.
Is he muted?
You. How we doing?
Good. How are you? Good to see you.
He's still muted. He's muted.
Oh my God! Look at that pasta. Look at that man.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful plate of pasta. His pictures.
Hang on 1 second. Hang on. We're gonna get you. There you go. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. First, let me say that Rosa DeLauro we look at her as the third congressperson here in Rhode Island. She is a cornerstone of us in New England and what she's done for not only Connecticut, but also always helping us in Rhode Island is incredible. Secondly, let me state that, I'm a third generation Italian American. Third generation. And what happens is every generation before us worked hard to make sure that the next generation could do a little bit better. The way my grandfather, who just about graduated the 8th grade, worked hard so he could send his brother to go to Brown University and Harvard Law School, and so that he could have his own 3 sons all get college degrees. And again, every generation works for the next. And when I think about what we're trying to do, and when I listen to President Biden talk about the middle class built America. Well, guess who was the middle class? It were the Italians who built the bridges, the roads, the highways, the buildings. We built this country. And now we have to make sure that the next generation does better. And how are we going to make that happen? With Kamala Harris being our next president. We need to raise money today. We need to bring money in. In fact, back in my town, we need scarole. We need more scarole raised so we can get that thermometer needle up higher so we can have more money.
Yes. Can you put me on the screen? Before we continue, would you care for a little grated cheese with your pasta?
No. We're doing fine.
So I have to tell.
Now I am in Bellini Restaurant in Providence, Rhode Island. And Bellini Restaurant is run by the Cipriani family, which they have many restaurants in New York. And we're happy in Providence, Rhode Island, that the Ciprianis came into the Beaches Hotel so Bellini can do well today.
Yes.
And it's not bad. In fact, it's excellent. And Maximilian is here with me. Say hello to Max.
Hi, Max. So my mother lives in Providence. My brother lives in Providence. I'm going to come by and try to get a free meal out of you when I come up. How about that, Max?
That's done.
And I got to say this, my wife is in the living room. So you, Joe, you and I spoke off camera. So you grew up on President Avenue, and Carol, I don't know if you know this, but my wife grew up at 159 President Avenue. You grew up at 195, and her mother bought your house and lived in your house. And there's some old T-shirts that we found of yours, which we'll send to you. They were all ripped and whatever, but it's such a small world, and you were
Those
great
said
job.
Palino for president when I ran for the 8th grade.
It was Paleo for president of the LaSalle Academy, and you went to the same school that my brother went to. There's a lot, and you were a really terrific mayor too. You did a great job.
Thank
you
you.
had my car towed a couple of times, which I didn't think was very cool, but no, but it's great to be able to do something like this with you and have you be part of this. I want to bring on our next guest if we can, because she's been sort of patiently waiting, and she's her for her roles in Teen Wolf, The Walking Dead, Chicago Fire, terrific actress, Melissa Ponzio. Please welcome her.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with all this amazing company. I'm here to say that I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she and the Democratic Party are interested in moving forwards and not backwards, moving forwards with safer gun laws for our children. Our children, I believe, face so much in this world. The last thing that they need to be doing is facing down the gun barrel. And I think that she's going to be moving us forward with reproductive rights and the freedom of family planning, and moving forward with strengthening our economy and growing our beautiful, beautiful country. I, too, am third generation Italian American. My great grandfather came here in 1919 and opened up a blacksmith shop off of 14th Street between First Avenue and Avenue A. And my grandfather and my great grandfather, into my grandparents, into my parents, and into me, I am here to use my voice and to use my vote to make sure that we are preserving our family values. And speaking of family values, I would have a glass of wine, but of course my nanny would not allow me to have this on this white couch here. And she would make a delicious baked ziti every Sunday, and I miss it so much. And I'm just really glad to be here and be a part of this campaign and be here with all of you, my family. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And if you want to pop Joe in as well here. Yeah, you're right. I would not be. You can't eat pizza. You can't have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh no, absolutely not. No. All I'm missing is plastic. Am I right? All I'm missing is the plastic on the seat.
Exactly. The whole plastic. Oh, that's so classic. Well, thank you. And how old are your kids, real quick? 1, 2 kids? How many kids do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
I have a 35-year-old stepdaughter who just actually gave birth to a beautiful, beautiful son. So
it's great.
Let's protect our children.
Salute.
There you go.
Salute.
Thanks, you guys.
Now you get to have all the fun as a grandmother, right?
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining us. And
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Paul, what's the thermometer say? Where's the Scott? How are we doing?
We're moving toward 20,000. We're moving along nicely. We got the QR codes up for donating and for volunteering, so keep the money rolling in.
I got to make sure that we in Rhode Island can raise more than De Blasio and Rosenpep did.
No,
the first half, the second half, we got to do better now.
We got some big stars coming up as well, and both on both the the Hollywood side and on the political side. So stay tuned, everybody, and tell your friends if they are not watching, go grab them, give them the link to join us and donate and be part of this. But
use your credit card, use your checkbook, and we also take Scott.
Take Scott, the Scott. Take the pennies and the cushions and down stuck in there in the sofa, whatever you got, the money.
Keep donating.
Yes. I'm going to let you take it from here, Joe, and introduce our next guest.
How special is it that we have Lorraine Bracco with us? Lorraine has appeared in both Italian-American films and English films. She has been nominated for an Oscar, 4 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes, 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards. Lorraine, take it away.
Muting myself. Am I unmuted?
You are.
You're all set.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I must say I've been watching from the beginning, and it's incredible. Some of the things that have really touched me is everybody's public service. And I want to thank them all for all of the work that they have done for us and for our country. So, my father was born here in America, in Detroit, but of course his family, they all came from Palermo. And my father served in the war, in World War II at the end of the war, where he met my mother at a USO dance in London. And she came over as a war bride. And he was very proud to serve this country. He was a proud Italian American. He really loved this country. And when I heard what Trump said about John McCain not being a hero, I honestly have to say that I think my father had just turned in his grave. He was a Republican, but honestly, after those remarks and after seeing what happened at the Capitol January 6th, I believe my father would have changed his beliefs and voted Democrat. So the reason why I'm here, and one of the reasons that I believe Kamala and Tim will be great for our country, is that they will give us our reproductive justice, that they will allow women to choose the right for what's best for them, for their families, and for their lives. I think it's imperative that we have them in our corner. I believe that women in this country can change the trajectory of this election. Women who are concerned about abortion rights, who are concerned about gun control. I don't know if I'm supposed to use the word control, but let's say gun laws. It needs to change. This country needs a change. And Kamala and Tim, I believe from the bottom of my heart, will give that to us. And women need to rise up. This is it, ladies. This is it. We don't have a second chance. We lost Hillary, and I think she would have been a great president day one. But we need to rise up. We need to get the vote out. We need to get young people. There should be no one who thinks, and I believe the debate will help us. I believe she will be incredible in this debate. I have everything crossed that she will bring her intelligence, her wit, her sense of being. Also, the whole immigrant thing. We're all immigrants. Since when is that such a horrific thing? Only since Donald Trump said that. Only since he said they're rapists and this and that. That's not true. That is not true. That's like saying every Italian that came on the boat was a thief, a rapist. It's just insanity, the things that come out of his mouth that are so untrue and unfair. It's unfair. I was brought up middle class. I know what that is. It's one of the reasons I love Joe Biden. He was a single parent. There are millions of single parents out there. He understood what that meant. He understood what it was to be a middle class family. And that is what I believe Kamala and Tim will bring to this table, to this government.
I think that's extremely. Can you pop me back on, Lorraine? I think that's so well put, and you can feel your passion is palpable, and there is a lot at stake. And you're right. I mean, we all are immigrants, and it just every time I hear those words coming out of his mouth, it's like it's like, hey, I got mine, you can't have yours. That's kind of the vibe, right?
Also, there was something else that really hurt my core, was when he decided that it was going to be interesting or funny or profound to make fun of the journalist that had MS.
Right.
Who
Right.
does that?
Well,
Who,
you know,
who does that in just the being a human being?
Right.
Where's your generosity of understanding somebody else's shoes?
Yeah.
He cannot do that. And if you cannot do that, you do not belong in the White House.
well, I couldn't put it any better. I think what you had to say is really important, and we love your passion. And please, everybody, if it resonates with you, hit the QR code.
Donate.
Donate.
Give us your time. Give us some money. Give us your time. Talk to people. Talk to your friends who maybe are on the fence. They need to understand, especially women. We're daughters. We're mothers. We
Yes.
can change the trajectory of this vote.
Yes. Thank you so much. So well put. Lorraine Bracco, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for
Thank
hanging.
you, Paul. Thank you for
Absolutely.
having me.
Absolutely. Well, I want to move this along and bring on a very good friend of mine that we used to do stand up a lot together in New York. And she is a terrific actress. You know her from Abbott Elementary, Screen Actor Guild Award winner. You know her from Parent Trap. My lovely, beautiful friend, very funny, Lisa Ann Walters. Hello. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Good. You look great.
Let me just take a little moment with you, giving somebody a hard time because they don't look Italian enough. It's green eyes, my friend. Whiter than white skin.
Right. I'm not going to mess with you.
Baby, we were invaded by every country in Europe that could get there on the Mediterranean. I've got Viking blood. You probably do too. How dare you?
I am not going to mess with you because I didn't find out until this event that you're part Sicilian. I am so sorry. Do not have me killed. I love you.
I would not. In fact, I'm looking at all of my friends over there at their fancy restaurants, and God bless her, she has a white couch. I have 4 kids. I haven't had white furniture in my life. Look what I made. A pot of
you made
I made Sunday dinner.
Oh my
Got
God.
bones. Look, I made with the cento tomatoes.
Oh my
I
God.
made you said it was dinner.
Yeah.
I made dinner. My 4 kids.
You hear your doorbell ringing. That's Bill de Blasio. He wants to keep eating. He's hungry.
Bill needs to show up and bring some eligible bachelors over here. No, for real though. I just want to say, as a postmenopausal woman, it's not very popular with certain candidates. I can't do the job that Vance thinks I should do because my 4 kids are apparently too busy to give me grandkids. The 3 boys are busy with their careers and all of them have cats. So, and then my daughter's getting her PhD. So, but I just want to say this because I goof around because that's what I do. And we have to have a little fun because, as my Sicilian great-grandmother used to say, what are you going to do? Cry? That was the one who could speak English. The other one just spoke Sicilian. She said, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. That was all she said in English. So both of the great-grandmothers came over here from Sicily. One came from Palermo on a boat. I just found this out when I did a thing for Ancestry. She was an orphan and she came at 13. They put her on a boat by herself and sent her to America to meet an aunt where hopefully she met somebody because she was alive. Both of them
it just might have been some old Italian looking woman that she thought was her aunt, and you never know.
Whatever, she took her in. So both of my great grandfathers helped build the subways in New York City. They both died in the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic in New York, leaving one great grandmother who had all 12 of her children on the kitchen table in her Thompson Street 1-bedroom apartment. I showed my boys when we went up what that looked like. There are at least 13 people in this apartment having dinner every Sunday. The other one had 4 kids. And when her husband died, she had to give them up to an orphanage for a number of years while she took in piecework. All of us have stories like this. We've been told these stories by our our parents, right? She took in piecework, sewing sleeves on garments, right? Until she had enough money to get her kids out of the orphanage. Because this was before Roosevelt and the safeguards that were enacted to protect and support people who wanted to be hardworking Americans, who wanted to put their heart and soul into this country that embraced them and brought them in. And when I see now what is being attempted, how dare anyone try to remove these safeguards that we fought so hard for? How dare they try to remove Social Security and healthcare? By the way, our money, that's my money. You don't come try to take my money that I work for since I was made a living at 13 years old. Right. So I want to say one thing that about Kamala Harris and how I know for a fact I can't believe I'm saying as a Californian, because 30 years and it still doesn't feel real. I'm East Coast all the way.
That doesn't seem, that feels.
It seems weird, right?
Yeah, it does.
But I watched her speak at a labor breakfast. And actually, it was the same time as the second Women's March. And I went to the labor breakfast and then ran over and did a speech at the Women's March here in LA. And this was before she was just going into the Senate. She had every single person on their feet, tears streaming down our faces as she talked about labor and the importance of unions. And as a union, not just a union member, but I am an active union national board member. I was on the negotiating committee and helped during the strike. For anybody to suggest that we should not be doing everything we can to work for the working men and women of this country, it's insanity to me. I don't understand how we went, well, our people anyway, who are so about justice and about protecting the little guy and making everybody as equal as possible in this great, beautiful melting pot. I don't know about anybody else on this Zoom, but I will tell you from my heart that when I see a movie like the wonderful ones that Mr. De Niro were in, any movie that has a boat full of people with hopeful faces going past the Statue of Liberty, I well up. Yeah. This is our country. We are patriots. We worked to build it. And when my great-grandfathers died and my grandfather, who was 13, started shining shoes on the Staten Island ferry to support his brothers and sisters, that is our country. That's what happens. The first generation breaks their back, so the second generation goes to college, so the third generation takes improv class.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a great, it's such a moving story, and you're right. You know, my mother was a seamstress when she was 16 years old to make extra money, and she would walk, didn't have money for the bus. Tells the story of my grandfather walking, 3-4 miles to work one way. He'd have enough money to buy some oranges, and he would just peel orange, like very simple things, but the connections there. You gave me goosebumps.
And how dare we say anything against an immigrant that wants to come with that hopeful face and do the same thing? Because the next generation, one of the sons of the great grandmother who had 4 kids, my Uncle Paul, who doesn't have at least one Uncle Paul, he he did the Bataan Death March. Yeah. The guy came back barely able to speak. These are the people that fought for this country
and made it so that Donald Trump or JD Vance could then run for high office. Yeah.
How very dare you? All right, let's leave on a good note, though.
Yeah. So listen, I just want to say that I can't. You big hugs. I can't. When you become a grandmother, you're going to be the hottest grandmother in the country. Sorry, I'm just.
Right? And wait, let me flip my hair.
There you go.
Now I feel very Jersey. Okay, let's end with a welcoming a wedding moment that all of you will recognize. This is for us, our people. Okay, thanks, Paul. We'll see you.
Love you, Lisa and Walter. Fantastic. Bye. Thank you. We have a very special guest. I want to move this thing right along here because this is someone that we all want to hear from. A great honor to introduce live from the road, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the author of the new book, The Art of Power, My Story as America's First Woman Speaker of the House, and the most effective Speaker of the House in the history of this country. There, I said it. Welcome, Madam Speaker. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's an honor to be here. I received an invitation from Rosa DeLauro, from Mayor de Blasio, and from so many. I just left Bobby De Niro, he spoke first on the program that we're at, and I spoke last. So he was here early, and I'm here later, but all of us very proud of our Italian-American heritage. I hear Lisa Ann talk about family experience, and I grew up in the Italian-American neighborhood of Little Italy in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I grew up. That's where my parents lived and died. I mean, that was our home. And that experience is one of Sunday, a family together on Sunday. And here we all are together for the betterment of our country. So many experiences of the Italian-American experience contributing so much to our country. I tell the story of my grandfather and his contemporaries came here saying, thinking the streets would be paved in gold, and little did they know that they would be paving the streets when they got here, but all contributing to the growth of our country, whether in the arts, whether in medicine and science and education, and just development of our country in so many ways. And as Lisa Ann was mentioning about the attitude toward immigrants that is prevalent now is so wrong compared to what immigrants have brought to our country. It is an important race because of that, and for so many other reasons. And that's why I know you've been hearing stories and the rest, and that's encouraging to us and a sense of pride to us. But I always like to leave a direction, and that is we must not take this election for granted. We must win it at the grassroots level, getting out the vote with the mobilization to own the ground, to make sure we pull out every possible vote. We also must mobilize around a message, a second M, a message that is unifying. It's bold and progressive, but it's not menacing to the public. It unifies our country. And the third M is the money to get the job done. So if you've already contributed, that's great. Maybe you can do more. But protect your investment by also getting on the phone and texting and door knocking and walking precincts and the rest, because it's very important. We can have no wasted time, no underutilized resources, and no regrets the day after the election that this could have been, I could have done more to have a different result. So in any event, thank you all for coming together for our Italian-American Paisans for Harris Walls, and just making us feel warm and cozy as family, which is one of our great contributions to America. I've known Kamala Harris for a very long time. She is personally, I've known her as a person of deep faith, and that is what is manifested in her concern for people and her contribution to the public good. Officially, I know her as a person of great strength, a leader of great strength. She knows the issues, she knows the strategy, she knows she has the eloquence to convey it, and that is, we're all in her debt for that. And as she goes forward, and politically, I know her as someone very politically astute. She wouldn't be where she is today if she were not politically astute. So we have a great leader who was, again, a person of values, a person of knowledge and judgment and vision, and a person of political astuteness who can lead us to victory, not just for us, but also for the House, not just for president, but for the House, so that Hakeem can be the speaker on January 6th. This is very important. It was important that I was the speaker last January 6th, and it's important that we have that Democratic majority for all the issues we care about, for the children, but also for the saving our democracy on January 6th. So on behalf of my family, my husband's parents, one was born in Paisans, one was born in the Lucca area of Italy. And our family, the D'Alessandro families they're from San Francisco, but the Alessandros from Baltimore. We know the pride we take in our heritage, the joy it brings to us, and the responsibility we have to. And I'll just close by talking about Ronald Reagan, if I may, a Republican president, let the record show. Lisa Ann, Ronald Reagan said this is the last speech I will make as president of the United States. And I want to communicate a message to a country that I love. And he talked about the Statue of Liberty and the beacon of hope it is to the world, attracting people to our shores with its beautiful message. And he said, America is a country that is so great in the world because our door is open. Well, if we close the door, we will no longer be the preeminent country in the world. So I wish that our Republican friends, I quote it to them all the time, they don't applaud. I say, you don't applaud for Ronald Reagan, but nonetheless, we know what is important to our country or a nation of immigrants unless you're blessed to be a Native American. So for these and other reasons, please mobilize, help us put out that message of unity for the country so that when the White House, the Senate, and with Chuck Schumer being the leader and Hakeem Jeffries as the next Speaker of the House. I say this as one who knows the job and knows Hakeem and know he will be great for our country as well. So as you enjoy this Sunday evening, I'm thinking back to Little Italy where we went to church and then we had dinner and then we did the cake walk, going out to get the cake. And but I just say that because this election is no cakewalk. We have plenty work to do. Onward to victory. Thank you so much.
Pop me back on. Please don't go yet. Pop me back on. Madam Speaker, thank you so much for that. And I want to say that in the darkest hours of this country around January 6th, you let us through. You know, you were the one that stood up to him and his nonsense. And I was like, yeah, that's an Italian right there. She was going hard. And
Italian grandmother.
Yes, you don't want to. And I just want to say how important you've been to the country on so many levels. But in that moment, you know, we needed someone because we were on the precipice. And I can only imagine what it was like that day for you and your staff and everyone else that was there. But to keep a level head and to bring us through, and hopefully we get completely through with this election in November, it is just to be applauded, to be toasted. I'll have a glass of wine, and I'm even gonna drink some red wine vinegar to you because that's how much I think of you. I'll drink, but I can't. I think I speak to everybody on this Zoom and everybody watching. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Paul, so much. I appreciate it. Onward to victory. Thank you.
Yes, and one other thing, do you call your husband Paulie ever? Because some of my family members still call me Paulie.
No, but I call my grandson Paulie.
There you go. You gotta have that. Come on. So wonderful to meet you via
In fact,
Zoom.
my husband says, how old will he have to be? He's now a teenager before you stop calling him Paulie.
They call you Paulie. It doesn't matter. I'm well beyond my teen years, and they call me Paulie.
Well, thank you, Paulie.
Oh yeah, you're welcome, Nancy. Madam Speaker, great to have you, and everyone pick up the book. It's a terrific read. Thank you so much. We're going to move on, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
We want to bounce back to Ambassador Paolino, who I think finished his pasta. Maybe he's getting a little dessert now. I don't know. A little.
We're getting close. Let me just say though that Speaker Pelosi, with her, she's got not only great strength but great humility. And I was at that Democratic convention in Chicago, and without her strong desire to save the United States of America, she gave us an opportunity to have a celebration of a wedding. It could have been close to a funeral. And we're in this game because of Nancy Pelosi. We owe her so much, and we thank her. And we all should, at Christmas time, buy the Art of Power and make sure that's going to be a good Christmas present for the people that we love and care for. Right now, we have, I want to introduce Congressman Joe Morell. Congressman Morell is the ranking member, the House Administration Committee, former Majority Leader of the New York State Assembly, and we have a video of Congressman Morell.
Okay. Hi, I'm Congressman Joe Morelli, and I am so excited to be a part of this event sponsored by the Italian American Democratic Leadership Council. I'm so grateful to them for all the work they do. And as a proud Italian American, all the values that Kamala Harris talks about, her values of family and hard work and dedication to community, dedication to our country, are so much the values that we all share as Italian Americans. And I was thinking back recently when I was a young boy sitting around a table, whether it was Sunday dinner or every day of the week, when we were finished eating, we had this old routine where we'd have to ask our parents for permission to leave the table. And I can remember almost always my father saying, well, before you do that, why don't you sit and talk to me for a little while? And those are some of the best memories I have growing up. The food was amazing. I don't want to, underscore how great it was. But what was even more important was that conversation, that sense of belonging, that sense of family, and the sense of how important it was for all of us to make this place that we adopted a century ago as our home is now the greatest country ever. And the Italian-American community has helped make it so. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that Kamala Harris becomes the next president of the United States, because she shares our values, and it's because we need this to move America forward. So thanks so much for all you do, and thanks for having me be a part of this.
Terrific video. And Joe, how are we looking on donations up to this point? Where are we numbers wise? Nope. Let Joe answer.
19,000. We need 25,000. Open up your checkbooks, please. We need the money.
Yeah, let's push this.
We can do it.
We've got some really big names that we've had, and we got more big names coming. And this is an important cause. So use that QR code and let's blast through 20 and let's get to 30 as quickly as we can. Speaking of which, I want to bring my lovely friend and future grandmother, Lisa Ann Walter, back in here. Bring her back because she has a special announcement she wants to make. Lisa?
I want to get us to 25 immediate mark. Pronto. I will donate $5,000 to match anybody else's up to $5,000 for Patti LuPone to please sing any line from Evita. And not that you're a show pony, Miss Patti LuPone, Queen Sicilian diva of the universe. I would never suggest that you're a show pony. It's just that it was the single best performance I've ever seen on a Broadway stage. And I want to pay $5,000 just for any line. It doesn't even have to be from your character. Any line.
One line, that's not asking a lot.
Well,
so,
it's up to her. I don't want to overstep. I don't want Patti LuPone mad at me.
No, that's something you'd rather have Jim Messina, the fixer, mad at you than her.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And I'll cook for her anything she wants.
Tell you that sauce you made looks amazing. Oh God, I'm so hungry right now.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Joe. I'll give it back to you. We have a video that we want to introduce.
Yes, Congressman Garamendi represents Northern California. He served as the United States Deputy Interior Secretary, Lieutenant Governor, and California Insurance Commissioner. Thank you for joining us tonight, Congressman.
Hi, I'm Congressman John Garamendi from California, and I know that we have a Californian that's going to become president. Kamala Harris is a terrific person. I've known her for more than 25 years. We worked together when I was Insurance Commissioner, Lieutenant Governor. She is smart. She is intelligent, and you don't mess with her. It's going to be an extraordinarily successful campaign for two reasons. One, she is awesome. Secondly, she's chosen an exceptional person as her vice president. I worked with Mr. Walsh. He is right on top of every issue. A veteran, knowledgeable, understanding rural America. It's a great combination. And we have a horrible opponent in the Republican Party. Just stop for a moment. Put aside all of these words and envision 4 more years of Donald Trump. Think of the chaos. Think of the policy. Think of all of the lies, all of the disinformation, and you go, no way, no how. We're going to simply work as hard as we possibly can. I don't mean as hard as necessary. I mean as hard as you possibly can. I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can. We're going to win this election because we have a terrific set of candidates. Kamala and Tim, they are fantastic. And we also know the other man. Awful, terrible, despicable, a liar, a cheat, and a felon. Oh, the debate's going to be great. Think about it. A prosecutor versus the felon. Well, let's move forward here. We're going to win this election because each and every one of us are going to do everything we possibly can to succeed and elect Kamala and Tim. Thank you so very much. Look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you very much for that, Joe. We're gonna move on to a little trivia right now that we've been able to kind of put together to have some fun with everybody watching. So anybody watching, we're gonna have this. It's called the Italian American Democratic Trivia Contest. I'm gonna read and repeat the questions, and you can email your answers by 8 o'clock. Let's say by 8:30. How about that? 8:30 Eastern time to iademocratictrivia@gmail.com. That's iademocratictrivia@gmail.com. iademocratictrivia@gmail.com. So I'm going to read some of these questions, and if you got a pen, piece of paper, whatever, make note. And around 8:30, we will see who's got the answers. What is Nancy Pelosi's favorite brand of ice cream? What is Nancy Pelosi's favorite brand of ice cream? What is depicted on Rosa DeLaura's tattoo? What is depicted on Rosa DeLaura's tattoo? What college do Suzanne DelBene and Steve Jobs have in common? What college do Suzanne DelBene and Steve Jobs have in common? What did Paul Mercurio do before he was a comedian? I've always wanted to talk about myself in the third person, so there, I did it. How about that? What former Italian-American congressman is the father of a current Italian-American congressman? Again, what former Italian-American congressman is the father of a current Italian-American congressman? Which Italian-American congressman succeeded George Santos? Which Italian-American congressman succeeded George Santos? Boy, that guy. Which Italian-American congressman was into dry cleaning before he got into politics? And I'm not using dry cleaning in quotes to imply something else. Which Italian-American congressman was into dry cleaning before he got into politics? Which Italian-American congressman graduated from the Naval Academy and was a surface warfare officer in Iraq? Which Italian-American congressman graduated from the Naval Academy and was a surface warfare officer in Iraq? Which former Italian-American congressman was a high school quarterback and coached junior high basketball? Which former Italian-American congressman was a high school quarterback and coached junior high basketball? And which Italian-American pollster is one of the world's leading authorities on the sentiments of young Americans in the age of digital and social media? Ooh, that's a tough one. Which Italian-American pollster is one of the leading authorities on the sentiments of young Americans in the age of digital and social media? Okay. Again, use the email, and we'll see who the winner might be. Joe, you have any gut on any of those? I know you don't want to give any answers away, but there's some interesting questions there, right?
Oh, I see them. Mike, you know, I remember watching Nancy Pelosi opening up her freezer with ice cream, and I'm killing myself because I can't remember the brand.
Well, we're going to see if folks know. But I want to move this along and bring in our next guest, former Congresswoman Susan Molinari. It's so great to have you here and being part of this. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paul. It's a delight to be here. And before we get into what is going to be a little bit of a solemn discussion I'm bringing into this, I know Mayor de Blasio is still watching. I'm not going to ask him to take sides, but I was a representative from Staten Island, New York. And if we're going to get into the pizza wars, we're going to be at the table. So I'm just throwing it out there. So I want to thank you, Paulie, for allowing me to be here. And I want everyone to wake up because I'm a Republican. I'm a former Republican member of Congress. And Speaker Pelosi and Chairwoman DeLaura and I didn't agree on a bunch of issues, and nor did we vote the same. But it turns out that what we did share were Italian-American fathers who raised us to be strong, encouraged us to be independent while being thoughtful of others. Those are the traits that are shared by Vice President Harris. Those are also the traits, among others, that the Trump-Vance ticket does not like to see in women. traits that they use to disrespect and demean in women, traits that they'd like to eradicate in the future generations of women. Misogyny is not new, ladies and gentlemen. Only now they campaign on it. So with all the dignity and tradition that my Italian-American family raised in me, I'm excited to join with all my Paisans to support the Harris-Walz ticket. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. This is not who we are. This is not who our grandparents are. For all the speeches that were given before, whether you were the daughters or the sons coming over, you were raised to reach the greatest heights this nation will bring you to. That is not what the Republican ticket is talking to women about today. So please, scan the QR code with your smartphone and donate, which I do as soon as I'm off this, and my daughters will teach me how to do it. So in the meantime, because it's a little late, no more red wine. I just want to toast to limoncello, to a future that is bright for all of us, sons and daughters, Republicans and Democrats. To the Harris-Walz ticket. Thank you.
Cheers. It'll put me right back on with her. I'm doing a little red wine, the limoncello. You got to.
Okay, it's okay.
You got to have it chill.
Okay. You got a longer night than I do, Paulie.
I love the Paulie. Thank you.
Paulie, thank you for doing. Well, my whole family still calls me Susie, so 66 years old. I get it.
I wouldn't
God
want
bless you
them,
for doing that.
I wouldn't want them to stop calling me that. You know, you want to stay connected to who you are and your roots. You know, and
How they see you, absolutely.
you know, I make my.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for being part of this. And you know, brave to be a Republican supporting it. You know, you have a lot of brave.
You know what? It's not. This is not a hard choice at all. I was Bob Dole's keynote speaker. I worked for Mitt Romney. I love the Bushes. This is not the Republican Party. And if we're ever going to get it back, it's not through Donald Trump. But thank you for saying so.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thank you for doing this. Joe, I'll give it back to you. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, how's that? Is
There
that
you go.
better?
Gotcha.
Okay. For Susan to be speaking out the way she is and having Republicans come forward, knowing that country is more important than politics, that's the best politics you can have when you put your country first. And that's what she's doing. What's the thermometer? How much are we up to? Let's go. Are we raising money?
We're up
This
to
is about
20,000.
This is called old time.
We broke through
This
20,000.
is called old time.
We broke through 20,000. So there you go.
All right. Now I want to welcome a very special actress, screenwriter, playwright, producer, director, Renee Taylor. Renee and her late husband, Joseph Bologna, were nominated for an Academy Award for writing the screenplay for Lovers and Other Strangers. Renee, welcome.
Hi, I'm Renee Taylor. I'm an actress and I'm 91 years old, but I can play older. I was married for 52 years to an Italian-American actor, Joe Bologna. That's 365 dog years in Hollywood. And the secret of our happy marriage was we had pasta 3 times a week, even when I had a headache. In 1961, I was made an honorary member of the Italian Organization of Italian-American Women. And we went to Rome and had an audience with the Pope. And the night before, I asked the public relations lady if the Pope could bless me and my husband, since I was a Jewish woman married to an Italian Catholic. And I told her, tell him it would be good publicity for him. And he said, Miss Taylor, the Pope doesn't need good publicity. But to my surprise, the next day, he said, move forward, and he blessed me and my husband. One of the reasons that I'm so excited to celebrate Kamala Harris is because she has our back on reproductive rights. You know, if men could give birth to babies and the life of the baby was in danger, they would save the father, not the baby. Think about that.
Next, I want to introduce somebody who I'm a big fan of, and I've worked with him on a professional basis, and we have a personal friendship, and that's John Della Volpe. John is the director of polling at the Harvard Kennedy School of Politics. He is an expert in finding deep, deep inside what the young people are thinking. And recently, I understand he also did a poll concerning Italian Americans. John, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Paolino. It's great to be with everyone tonight. For myself, I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. That's where I learned how to make cavatelli with my grandmother. But I learned politics with you. It was such an incredible opportunity to work with you on a campaign for governor, and I've learned so much over the years, and I appreciate being part of this with you. But yes, I was honored to do a poll a little bit ago with the Italian American Policy Institute here. And as Messina said, there's a couple of million Italian Americans in those three blue wall states, in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. And let me tell you a little bit about them. Number one, they vote. We all vote. 84%, which is sky high, indicated that they definitely plan to vote in this coming election. I think it's only higher today than it was when we first took the poll one. The second is they are highly engaged in the community, well over 50%, more than most other ethnic groups in America say they are politically engaged. And that's number one. Number two, they know, of course, about 3/4 know of and are proud of the significant contributions that Italian Americans made in our society. They tell us through the survey that their family upbringing is the biggest influence on how they think about politics today. And as you said, Mayor, Ambassador, earlier, the Harris campaign is about moving America forward. And I think that the values and the experiences of Italian Americans align quite well with the Harris campaign. Her focus on continuing to invest and rebuild infrastructure, her focus to help millions of small businesses get off the ground, and more importantly, I think, especially for the younger voters, the younger Italian Americans, is this connection to helping people buy their first home, and when they have young families, to invest in childcare. So I think that there's a lot with the Italian American community that aligns with the Harris campaign. And the other thing that's interesting about our community is that they over-index for being on Facebook. It is still the most prominent social network among many Italian Americans, and donating or volunteering, but also messaging and posting on Facebook, I think can be very effective in helping the Harris campaign get over the top in the next couple of months. So with that, I want to thank you for the opportunity to present these findings, and to everyone for allowing me the opportunity to poll the Italian American community. And by the way, it's the first time I think I've ever been an answer to a trivia question. So thank you for whoever wrote that as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
We need money. We need money. More donations.
Yes, absolutely. We're over 20,000. We want to get to 30,000. So use your QR codes. And John, thank you for doing that. Let me bring on our next guest. Another Republican, rather, Anthony Scaramucci, served as communications director for twice impeached, four-time indicted president, but believes that he's lost his mind, and so is now supporting Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. It's Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony, very nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us and doing this.
Paul, thank you. Saying a quick hello to Susan. And I want to give a shout out to Bill de Blasio, who reached out to me. And Bill said something to me, which is very true. He said, can you imagine me, you, and Dick Cheney getting together alongside Susan Molinari to support Vice President Harris? And the answer to that is yes, I can imagine it, because each of us understand the systemic danger involved with the potential reelection of Donald Trump. We also know the type of person that Vice President Harris is in terms of her warmth, her sense of identity about America, where America is going, not where America once was, but the progress that we're all making in America. And I just want to say thank you guys for including me, because my son says to me, Dad, you've killed my networking opportunities. I said, how did I do that, son? He said, well, you were with the Republicans. They hate you now. because you left Trump. And he said, you know, the Democrats, they hate you too. They'll never accept you. But here I am with you guys, Paul, right? On a
We
Paisans
accept you, baby. We love you. We accept
that.
you.
Okay. And so when I finish my remarks, which will be in the next 10 seconds, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to log on for Paisans for Kamala, and I'm going to donate an additional $5,000 to the campaign to take you guys up to the $25,000 level. And let me tell you something, I'm in deep for this campaign. Okay. I have given money. I've given time. I will give energy. And the campaign needs me in those swing states to talk to my fellow Italian Americans. I will be up there. And hopefully you guys will see me on the air in the coming months and provide media advocacy and support for the campaign. Because as Susan said, my grandparents would be proud of me to do that because they love this country in a way that I know all of you love the country. And the freedom and the aspects of freedom and the way of life that we see America, the identification we all see in each other, that we can just express ourselves and be who we really are here in America is at stake in this election. So I'm with you. When I hang up, I'll send you guys another $5,000. You'll see it pop up. The ambassador will be very happy. Joe knows how to ask for the order, Joe. You would have been very good on Wall Street, Joe. I'll just tell you that. Okay, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, don't go just yet because, you know, if you're writing $5,000 checks, you want to send one my way, you know, fellow Italian, you know, just a little something.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you come over and do stand-up at one of my events, Paul. All right.
Okay.
It'll be a lot more. It'll be a lot more than 5 Gs. I'll tell you that.
Oh, there you go. All right.
All right.
We'll lock it. We kind of look alike a little bit. Don't you think we could be
Well,
brothers?
you're better looking than me, Paul.
No, get out of here. You have way
Ask
better
Susan.
hair.
Susan
Way
knows.
better.
Susan knows you're better
Look,
looking than me.
Congressman Molinari's
But I
clapping.
will say this: you and I don't have a 4-head, Paul. We have a 5 or a 6 head, you and me. But that's fine.
Exactly. That was so generous of you. Thank you for doing
Okay,
that.
well, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to send you guys the money. You'll see it come over on my Amex. All right. God bless
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Lynn.
And I
Thanks.
want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate being included.
Absolutely.
All right.
Great to
Thank
have
you
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Joe, I'll give
Now
it back to you.
We have somebody very special, one of my favorite actresses. She's just incredible. And I have to say, I think every friend of mine has always had a crush on her. She's just been fantastic, and she's somebody very special. And that's Marissa Tomei.
Hi, good evening. Oh, happy Sunday dinner. I wish I were there eating with all of you right now. I had to make this video because I didn't have enough Wi-Fi to send it in. I'm just about to head home from my last swim of the summer. So I hope you're enjoying and having really good bread and really good cheese and having a delicious meal. I wanted to tune in though because I have a full-throated 100% support in my heart for Kamala Harris. And I was thinking about why? And a lot of it is, it's family. She's a family person. I was thinking about my grandpa and how he's a truck driver. I miss him. And how she is for the working class, for the middle class. And that's kind of the story of having a leg up and having the support that we need, whether it's through a child care tax credit or building the families that we want through IVF. People need it. It's made their dreams come true. I personally know women that have had ectopic pregnancies and have had to have an early stage abortion. It's heartbreaking, but it saved my friends' lives. These are how families are built, through the good times and the bad together. And I think our country has just been through so much pain this last year, and with this all the contentiousness. And I just want to come back to a family dinner where people can disagree, but we're respectful with each other and we care for each other because we're in it together. And for me, and I believe for all of us, Kamala Harris is the person to bring us back, turn the page, and start anew with caring for each other, with supporting the middle class, supporting the working class, starting to think about dinner now. So you know how that I'm really Italian. And getting us back to our bowls of pasta and the family dinner that I'm sure you're all enjoying now together. I'm honored to be part of your dinner conversation tonight. And what is my dish? I was asked to talk about that. I have to go with pesto. I know it's not a red sauce, but in the summertime, I love all those basil plants and the fragrant basil, and turning it into a beautiful pesto and then freezing it so that I can still enjoy my pesto in the deep winter when I need a little bit of sunshine. Thanks for being here. Go Kamala Harris. Yes. Grazie.
Okay, well, that was terrific. Thank you, Marissa. Really well put. Great to have you be part of this. I want to remind everybody on the trivia, if we can get you guys all kind of being part of this. By the way, QR codes, donate, volunteer. We're pushing to 25,000. Thanks to Anthony Scaramucci. We want to get to 30. So please, let's go. As Joe Paolino says, we need the Scott all. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Come on, baby. And also the deadline to submit your trivial answers go to iademocratictrivia@gmail.com. You got till 8:30 to do that. We'll announce the winner in a little bit. But let's move on to our next guest, a great actor and filmmaker, John Turturro. He's appeared in more than 60 feature films, has been nominated for 4 Screen Actor Guild Awards and 3 Golden Globe Awards. John, welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging with us.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to be with everybody tonight. So I want to just build on something that Susan spoke about sort of this pervading misogyny that's coming from the other side. I think the former president has spent a lifetime evading responsibilities for his actions, but he really can't walk back the Dobbs decision in overturning Roe versus Wade. And when you look around the country, women all over are being gravely affected and criminalized as states rule over their bodily autonomy. And a few years ago, I wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post about my grandmother, and this was almost 100 years ago in 1927, who we lost our grandmother due to a botched illegal abortion because she couldn't have any more kids because she couldn't afford to feed them. And that really kind of split up my mother's family. Everyone was put in orphanages, and they not only lost their mother, but they lost their home, they lost their language, they lost their sense of security and safety. And they were never really the same, because of that. And that's 100 years later, now this is still happening. And I respect people's rights to choose what they want to, and whether it's their religion and they're against abortion or they're for. But I really feel that every woman should have the right to choose. And now he's trying to, backtrack after putting all that in play. And it's something that I've seen, firsthand how it affected someone's life. And I think that, we cannot go backwards. And this is only one issue besides climate change and putting food on the table, public education, healthcare. But I think Kamala has spoken very eloquently about this subject matter. And I feel that this is a really, really important thing, because there are so many men, I would have to say, mostly men, who want to kind of go backwards and not forwards. And I think we can't let that, happen. And especially if you're from an Italian family, who really rules the family. And not only does the woman rule the family in Italian families, but they rule them in a lot of other families. And that's really the most powerful person in the family. However men want to act, that's the truth of it. And so I really feel, just on this issue alone, that, to get behind her to be the next president, we cannot go backwards. So put your money to give people the opportunity to choose and to be free to choose. So thank you very much.
Well put. Thank you for coming on and saying that. And sorry to hear about your grandmother, but Joe, I'll throw it back to you and let you kind of take it from here. Joe, you're muted.
There we go. Sorry. I'm too old for this technology. Anyways, John was right. And it's important, though, that we need to donate more. I told you not to go anywhere earlier because our next guest, the award-winning actor, Mark Ruffalo, otherwise known as the Hulk. He is one of the few performers to have been nominated for the 4 major entertainment awards in the United States: Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. Earlier this year, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Paisans, please join me in welcoming Mark Ruffalo.
Paisan, ciao. It's Mark Ruffalo here. I am an Italian American. I'm second generation Italian American. My grandfather and his family, my great grandfather's family, came over at the turn of the century to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where they came from Calabria, with thousands, tens of thousands of other Italians from southern Italy and Calabria, to join the American workforce, to build the economy here as a form of cheap labor, and to build the buildings in Chicago and Wisconsin and Madison and Milwaukee, and to start a new life, to become Americans. And so I'm here today in honor of them. I'm the manifestation of their dreams, for no reason other than their hard work and their belief in this country and their contributions to this country am I here today. So I'm here today to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Admittedly, some of you might be saying, well, he's such a hardcore progressive, and I sometimes am a fly in the ointment of mainstream Democrats, which is fine. But when I look at the choices that are there today, and I think many of you will feel this way, there is no choice other than Kamala Harris. She carries our values and our morals. The Democratic Party is closer to all of our values and morals, and the MAGA Republican Trump people have totally lost the plot. And so no matter how you cut it, to be mature, politically mature today, says that we have to vote for Kamala, and we have to make sure she gets in office, whether we're talking about Gaza, whether we're talking about climate change, whether we're talking about the economy, whether we're talking about racism, whether we're talking about frontline communities, environmentalism, across the board. There's no choice. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, she's done this, she did that, she's not for this, she's not for that. And I say, I understand, but we have a better chance of getting her there than we ever will with Trump. So, brothers and sisters, fellow Americans, my fellow Italian Americans, I know in the past we've been conservative, but today we have to honor our ideals as Americans and remember where we came from. We were people that were sitting on the outside of the border waiting to come in to start a new life. If you're a Southern Italian person, you were running from extreme poverty. And you came under very, very difficult circumstances, your family, to start a new life here. I have an uncle who's just rabidly anti-immigrant, who's completely forgot where he's come from. This country has been great to him. It's been kind to my family. We worked very, very hard to be here, but we're here. And we're only here several generations away. So it's by the grace of God we came. It's by the grace of God that we've done well. And it's by the grace of this country that we're Americans. So we have to fight for democracy. And this is the way to do it.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Mark. Hey, let's look at the thermometer. We are at close to $27,000. We're getting close to 30, everybody. Come on. Go grab those pennies. Tell your friends. We want some more. QR code, donate, QR code, volunteer. let's push this to 30 and get past 30. You don't want to tell your non-Italian friends we couldn't raise 30, do you? You know, we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Let's look at the winners of the contest now. They're our Italian American Democratic trivia contest. So here we go. What is Nancy Pelosi's favorite brand of ice cream? Jenny's. That's Jenny's. I think a lot of people knew that. What is depicted on Rosa DeLaura's tattoo? A purple and red rose. A purple and red rose. What college do Suzanne Del Bene and Steve Jobs have in common? That would be Reed College. Reed College. What did Paul Mercurio do before he was a comedian? He was a mergers and acquisitions attorney and then broke his mother's heart and became a comedian. I see Joe Paolino laughing. What former Italian-American congressman is the father of current Italian-American congressman? Former Congressman Leon Panetta is the father of current Congressman Jimmy Panetta. And he's Jimmy, like he's Paulie. He's Jimmy, he's Paulie. Hey! Which Italian-American congressman succeeded George Santos? Wow, those are some small shoes to fill. Come on, that was funny, everybody. That's funny. Thank you. Everybody laugh together now. That would be Tom Swoozy, who is still in the airport thinking he's flying to Washington, D.C. He's never getting out of the airport. Tommy, you're stuck. You're stuck. Go get an ice cream. So that would be Tom Swoozy, who's a terrific congressman and doing great work for his district. Which Italian-American congressman was into dry cleaning before he got into politics? That would be Joe Morelli, apologies. Joe Morelli. Excellent dry cleaning. He'll do starch, he'll do light starch, he'll do hangers. Sometimes he over dries and they shrink, you know, but he's a Morelli. You don't want to push him too hard. Somebody could get whacked. Anyway, which Italian-American congressman graduated from the Naval Academy and was a surface warfare officer in Iraq? That would be Chris DeLuzio. Which former Italian-American congressman was a high school quarterback and coached junior high basketball and clearly does not know how to eat pizza? That would be Tim Ryan. I did that for you, Bill de Blasio. I did that for you. Which Italian-American pollster is one of the world's leading authorities on the sentiments of young Americans in the age of digital and social media? That would be John Della Volpe, who just joined us with a terrific speech. So there are the answers. And our winner is, ironically, Jason Goldstein of Boca Raton. Someone's Jewish who won? How does that work? That's awesome. That's awesome. How did an Italian not win this? Jason, you are the best non-Italian American ever. Cheers. That's awesome. Congratulations. And the Italians that didn't get it right, you're dead to me. There, I said it. All right, we're moving on. Joe, are you there, buddy? Let's bring Joe back in.
Are we here?
We got you.
All righty. Well, now we're going to hear from Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici.
Buonasera, I'm Suzanne Bonamici and I represent the 1st Congressional District of Oregon. Years ago, my grandparents, Ferdinando Bonamici and Leonetta Tognozzi Bonamici, left their home in Munsumano, got on the train, went through Lucca over to Pisa, and got on the Dante Alighieri, the ship that brought them to Ellis Island and to their new home, the United States of America. And they came to this country because they saw what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, not the other guys, see in our country, a place of hope and opportunity and freedom. They worked hard. They had 5 children, including my father. And although they didn't live to see the day, I know they would be very proud that their granddaughter is a member of the United States House of Representatives. Grandma was always cooking, Grandpa worked hard, and their lives really shaped my values. So Grandma was always cooking, as I said. So let's talk about food. One of my ideal Italian meals would start with sauteed zucchini flowers, and then I would make bucatini al savor di noce, one of my favorite Tuscan dishes, with bucatini and a sauce made out of olive oil, honey, lemon, ginger, and walnuts, and it is delicious. So let's have some food, but then let's go out there and work hard and make sure we elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, because we, like my grandparents, know that this is a country full of hope and opportunity and, yes, freedom. Buon appetito.
All right, we are back. And Joe, how we doing on the we're getting close to 30, right? How we doing on the Scott Hall, Joe? We raising some money or what?
We up there? We 30? Did we hit 30 yet?
I think we're getting close. We want people to donate. QR codes right there, folks.
Let's see if our senator from Nevada can help us, because our next guest is the Nevada Senator, Catherine Cortez Masto. She's the only Italian-American senator in the world's most deliberate body. Like Kamala, our party's nominee, Senator Cortez Masto, was previously her state's attorney general. And let me just say something. She's a great Italian-American, but here in Rhode Island, we had the great Senator John O. Pastore that represented us, and he was the first Italian-American ever to be in the U.S. Senate.
Both the Italian-American, I want to thank both the Italian-American Democratic Leadership Council, everyone, for your bringing this together, for the support that we know we need to continue to give to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. You know this is why you're on this Zoom, but this is such a crucial time for us. If we are really going to fight for our working families, if we're going to really fight for our environment and reduce the carbon emissions in this country, and making sure that everybody has that opportunity to succeed, including our small businesses, that economic opportunity that Kamala talks about, we're all in this together. I am proud to join you as Italian American. I'm very proud. I have a mother who's Sicilian. If anybody has a Sicilian mother, you really know who's the boss of the family. But for me, my love of this country and giving back comes from my mother and my father, my family. And I know we are part of the American dream, and so is Kamala Harris. She's the daughter of the American dream. She understands this. That's why she's fighting, like all of us, for our families and their future. So I want to thank everyone for joining tonight. If you haven't had the chance to get out and financially support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, please do so. Other than that, get out, work in your communities, knock on doors, phone bank, do what it takes. We've got to turn out our voters across this country to ensure we're looking out for their future. And that starts with electing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
All right, that was terrific. Thank you, Senator. Joe, it's really great to be spending time with you like this, because, you know, we're two Rhode Island guys, and, you know, I got here something you would appreciate, which is the spinach pie, which is, now a lot of Italians don't know what this is unless you're from Rhode Island, but you got your bread, you got your spinach, you got your pepperoni, and you got your cheese, and you heat that up. And that's,
but the best spinach pie is when your grandmother made it for you.
Yeah, I know. And I used to make the dough with her. She literally, the flour, everything had to be fresh from scratch. And then you'd wait for it to rise, and we'd make pepper biscuits too. It was terrific. And
especially Easter time, that's when she'd bring it over to my house.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
And and David's here. Okay, we have our next guest that's joining us now. Who's just dialed in. He is our final guest of the evening. Guys,
final guest.
We're almost at 27,000, and we want to get to 30. So come on, David, bring us home now. Bring us home.
Buonasera.
You know him from his recurring roles on The Wire, Suits. He's currently starring in the Showtime production of Billions. And it's David. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I don't understand how all of you why aren't you all eating?
Well,
what were you doing? I've been eating this whole time. I've been
Bill de
cooking
Blasio
and eating.
ate for everybody. Bill de Blasio ate my food.
Was he cooking?
No,
Is he cooking in a suit? What are you, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, what are you doing cooking in a suit? I have my apron on still.
I'm eating this.
Why isn't your apron on? You put if you're going to wear a suit and cook, which I'm very much impressed by. At least put the apron on.
No, it's an apron that looks like a suit. That's how.
So he just walks around the entire time he was mayor. He was
when he was mayor,
cooking.
it was just an apron, and
he
sometimes
just was cooking for the entire city.
Yeah, and then
I
if he
wish
was
I had
busy,
known.
if he
He
was
never
busy,
invited me over.
Yeah,
and we're neighbors. He and I live just blocks from each other.
And if he was busy, he'd forget to put his pants on sometimes, and he'd just have his suit
just have the apron.
You know, you
well,
can
he's
see
a tall guy. That's a long apron.
Is that? That's a long apron.
Impressed.
Anyway, take it away.
What am I going to say? What do I say? What do I say?
You say, listen to me. You're an actor. Talk from the heart.
Oh yeah, no, I can talk. I can talk. You know, one of the things. My grandfather came from Cosenza, Italy, in the early 20th century, and he left his wife with two children, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I was telling my kids tonight at dinner about this story because we were saying, you know, what are you going to go do? I was telling them what I was going to go do, and they were saying, what are you going to go do? And I was going to talk about our family and the immigrant experience of somebody who then came to America, didn't know where his brother, he had 8 brothers and sisters and left and came to America to find his brother who he didn't know where he was, came to America, didn't find his brother, and then eventually found his brother years after moving to Indiana, working in the slaughter fields, and then moved to Hazleton, Pennsylvania, became a coal miner and a janitor, eventually sent for his wife and his 2 children, then had 7 more children, of which my father, who is going to be 90 at Christmas this year, is still alive. And he was a coal miner and he was a janitor. And my father eventually went to Georgetown University, became a librarian, owned his own business. And I was then allowed to pursue, so my dad was allowed to pursue exactly what he was. And then my dad said to me, you should pursue exactly what it is that you would want to be, what you want to do. And what more could you ask for? What more could you dream about? You don't dream about things. You don't dream about houses or cars or crap like that. You dream about your heart. You dream about what you could desire and what you could hope for. And in my family, the hope wasn't just for you. The hope wasn't just for your family. It was for everybody, that everybody could have that experience, that everybody who wanted to come to this country and have this dream and share in this dream could have it. And that those people wouldn't be denigrated for it. They wouldn't be said to be less than you because they were after you. And anybody, especially people who came to this country and immigrated to this country, those people who want to look backwards and say that those people are less than them, who are after or behind them, to me, that is a shame that is beyond imagining, because you know, and if you don't know, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to your family. You're lying to the parents and your grandparents who came before you to come to this country to say that you can get what you want and you can pursue your dreams. I have pursued my dreams. I have been incredibly lucky in this country, and I live a beautiful life. I tell stories, and my whole life is dedicated to storytelling. And I'm proud to be a storyteller, even if I play guys who are terrible bastards. That is part of my legacy as well. And I couldn't be happier to tell that. I couldn't be happier. You know, my children can't watch the stories that I tell, but I am proud to tell those stories and be part of that. And I feel like being Italian American, it is 100% has been incredibly formative about. So I'm half Italian, I'm half Irish, and if it wasn't for if that isn't a combination of somebody who's going to be full of bullshit, I don't know what is. And I am full of bullshit. And
I just met you for the first time, and I sensed it over the Zoom.
Yeah, you know, listen to that guy. That guy could bullshit his way through anything. But exactly. I'm proud of that because it also has to do with story. How do you tell people stories? And to me, that the Democratic Party, this ticket, what certainly President Biden has done, that people who are willing to look after working people, labor, it's very important to me, very dear to me. I am in multiple unions, have been for many years, been proud to be on picket lines, been not happy to strike, but proud that I can strike and proud that my voice is heard and that I can change the way that generations behind me will profit from not what I will, because because you don't in the present when you go on strike. But we were on strike last year as actors, and the people who will come behind me, those are the people who will profit, who will be secure in their rights, their health rights, their pension rights, their working condition rights. And that is something that the Harris Waltz ticket 100% is going to defend. And they're not going to pay lip service to it, just the way Biden didn't. He was out on the picket lines. He's believed in it forever. And I know that that is something that I trust and demand that the Democratic Party will continue to support and believe in, because it is the way for us to ensure that people who are Italian Americans, people who are migrants, people who have come to this country looking for more can make a better life in a very short time. In less than 100 years, I got to do this. I got to be a storyteller and make my living and make a beautiful living and raise children inside of New York City, doing what I wanted to do, believing what I want to believe, because there was not just a land of opportunity, but a land where people stood up for people who had less than they do.
Right. Well, you mentioned the word dreams, or the elegance and ability to pursue your dream, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't have the opportunity. And that's what that ticket wants to keep, is the key for me. One of the key words is opportunity, which Harris Waltz gives you, right? We all have a dream. And look, my grandparents, same thing. Like to me, it's still, my mother's 96, by the way. And
congratulations.
She will not go down. We try everything. Black cheese, sour milk. Yeah, you trip her. She bounces back up.
Sure.
No. And she tells the story of, like, her father came and then wrote back, like they wrote a letter and said, this looks like a good place to come. And then they would come. Like, talk about just throwing yourself into something, no safety net. And then to build and to have the humility. I mentioned this earlier with Bill de Blasio. They had both of my grandfathers had pretty affluent jobs, well-respected, high-level jobs, but they had to take a couple of steps down in America, and they did it with a longer-term view. And so I think Harris Waltz, you get that opportunity that you are not going to get with that other ticket, but you put it so. By the way, how about doing like a Toy Story voiceover job for your kids so they can see something that you do? How about that?
That would be nice. I was in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, so they watch that one. That's the only one they watch.
Well, it's really great to have you be part of this, and your story is resonates with everybody, I'm sure, and is one of many, but important. So thank you for being part
something
of
that I deeply believe in, and will and certainly have for my life until now, and certainly will continue to, for sure, because those are just truths. And if you don't know, one of the things, one of the last things that was so important to me when I was thinking about coming on here is just like, listen, it isn't just the heritage, but it also had to do with the faith that I was raised in. And just like, it isn't just that you like your neighbor. It isn't just that you treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated, but it's that you're supposed to love your neighbor. You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. And your neighbor may be Bill de Blasio, who it happens to be in my case, which I do love, Mr. Mayor. He is my neighbor. But also, it is somebody that I don't know. It's somebody who is coming to this country. It's a Syrian refugee who has no other where to go. And they move to my neighborhood. And I'm willing, and I want those people to feel loved. I want them to feel they should be embraced by the public school that my kids go to. They should be taught the language to be here so that they can pursue the dreams that they have in safety. This is essential. There's one of my little children.
There you go.
There she is.
Perfect. Right on cue.
Yeah, way to go. There she is, the second grader, PS 39.
There you go. Great
Anyway.
school system. Thank you so much for doing this, and thanks for
It's my great pleasure. Harris
Right.
Waltz, she's going to win 100%.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you
you
for having me.
So that wraps up our night. Just bring Joe back in. And Joe.
David was great. I mean, he was right on target and very enjoyable. And all of us are big fans of his anyways, in the work that he's done on Billions. Listen, but this has been an incredible evening. I didn't think it would be as great as it is. And you were a big part of it. I got to say that de Blasio, and Jimmy Rosenpep were just fantastic in the very beginning. I want to thank all of our Italian American celebrities and our political leaders for their participation. I also want to thank our Republican Italian Americans who came on. I give them so much credit. Putting country over politics is so important. And how special and lucky are we that the leader of us is Nancy Pelosi. I mean, we win this race. We have her to thank for stopping Donald Trump. And she's the one. This guy just can't beat these women, can he? He just can't.
And let's not forget,
No way.
by the way, who did
So
one of them.
I want to thank everybody.
Yeah.
What's that?
I just was going to say, let's not forget Joe Biden, who did a very patriotic thing, and,
Wow. He's a class act.
Unbelievable.
Just a total class act.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're lucky that he's there. And let me say, Scarol time. Bing, 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 bing.
One
We
more
need
time, everybody. Yes. And before we go, a couple of things I want to
What do
say.
they do at weddings and Italian weddings?
What's that?
Italian weddings?
Oh, they do the. Yes. Yeah. Hang on. Here we go. Come on.
That's it.
It's really been fun to be on with you and spend this time and with everybody and all these amazing political leaders and actors and a real honor for me. And it's great to work with Jimmy and Bill. And I want to say that, hope to all see you out there on the road too. I'm doing a show right now, a Broadway show, which is a show about connecting people through stories. It's called Permission to Speak, and we're taking it out on tour. So folks can go to my website to see where that is. We're going to be in Annapolis, Maryland with it and other places, Orlando. It's called Permission to Speak. So it's a show that's sort of timely and built around our politics. But I want to bring Bill and Jimmy back in too for a quick goodbye. If we can. I think they're still sitting there. Thank you so much for being central to this along with Joe. Cheers. It was a great night. Bill, Joe. Bill, unmute yourself so we can hear you.
I want to thank Joe for his leadership of the Italian American Democrats, also for constantly telling people about the Scarol. I love it. You are shameless for a wonderful cause. I love you for it. I love you for it, my fellow mayor. And Paul, a beautiful, beautiful job from the heart. You are one funny dude. Tell people your website, dude. Tell people your website.
It's paulmercurio.com. And I have a podcast, Inside Out, with Paul Mercurio, among other people. Paul McCartney's been one of my guests. Love to have both of you guys on. We can talk politics and being Italian, but really proud of my show directed by Frank Oz called Permission to Speak, which is a Broadway show that we're now taking out on tour. And the premise of the show is we're nameless, faceless, disconnected, and at times divisive. But if we get together and share stories, we realize we have more in common than we think. And maybe we're not so divisive. I don't know that you can change somebody's mind on politics if they're really on the side of the fence. But if you get to start to see that we're actually have more alike, then maybe you'll listen to the other person's politics. And we can get this back to some semblance of reasonableness. So it's a show where I talk to audience members, bring them on stage and they tell their stories, because everybody's got a story like we heard tonight. So it's called Permission to Speak, and people can go to paulmercurio.com. We're taking it out on tour all over the country, but really been it meant a lot to me to be part of this. And thank you for asking me to do this. I really appreciate it.
And it's also, and I thought what you said, what David said, David Costabile a moment ago, this idea of the Italian family dinner is what we epitomize. This is what we're talking about tonight with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Like, let's be a country together again where we all respect each other. We all want to be at the same table. We love our neighbor. We care about our neighbor, not because of what their party is, but we just care about them because they're our fellow American. And I think, that Italian family dinner table has always been a place for everyone. Everyone's welcome. And I think we're showing it tonight. I think a lot of people really felt it tonight. Being here in our community, everyone together is a beautiful thing. So thank you, everyone.
Cheers. Now
How much money are we at?
The Scarol again.
Scarol time.
Where's the Scarol?
We're at least at 30, I think.
Broke 30? Okay. We'll get to 30.
We'll get to 30. We want to get to 30, guys. We're a little under 30. We're around 28. Let's get to 30, everybody.
Make it happen.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Joe.
Thank you. Bye, Mayor.